we're excited to have Roger here. Roger is here because of a co-op program brought to us by the Utah Office of Tourism. So they pay for half of Roger's expenses to come here. Their goal was to have all of the counties in Utah assessed by Roger Brooks, how we can make our state better for the visitor, better for our residents, and better for business. So we're excited to have him here. We're excited to see what he has to say about Uinta County. I wanted to thank our partners, Uinta County Travel and Tourism and Uinta County Economic Development, Vernal and Naples City, the Vernal Area Chamber of Commerce, Smith's, Microtel, Uplift Spinal, Sunrise Engineering, Ashley Regional Medical Center, Advanced Business Systems, BTD, Grand Valley Bank, Holiday Inn Express, Basin Nicolaides, KDEL, Papa John's, and Ledgestone all put forth some of the money to allow us to have Roger come here and spend a week in our community. And we're going to turn the time over to him because I'm just excited to see what he has to say. He may have time for a little bit of question and answer afterwards, and if we do have time for that, we'll have you come up to the mic so that we can have it recorded. So this whole program will be recorded, and you'll be able to access it, and you can use it for staff training, or we can share it with other businesses that we're not able to make it today. So welcome, Roger.
Thank you. How is everyone? Great. Well, this has been a fun week. It's been fast for you over there. I'm sorry, I'm staying put over here. So if you want to move over, there are some more chairs. Because I'm going to concentrate kind of on this screen. And I want to do, we have been here, my wife Jane, go ahead and stand up, Jane. There she is back there. She came with me, and you always, when you go and secret shop a place, you always need a woman with her because they see way more than us guys. And they have an entirely different take. And so she doesn't get to come with me on all of them, but it was really fun having her here for this one. And I wanted to start by talking about what the heck, by the way, you notice I already rebranded you as Dinosaur Country. So, you know, because the one thing I thought is, well, you know, the Dino Land and Dinosaur Land and all those things, a little bit kind of like stuck in the 60s. You remember those days of Vacation Land and all that? You know, and we have like 3 little grandkids, and they're like, yo, we don't want Barney. They want Jurassic Park. You know, and so anyway, we've been doing an assessment. We have been here since Monday. And we have been secret shopping you. There was no interviews, no heads up. We didn't even talk to Alicia. I talked to her, was it yesterday morning? Yesterday. Yeah, just for a little bit when we were pretty much done and starting to prepare this. And so they didn't say where to stay. I'm glad we picked a Holiday Inn Express since they're a sponsor. As she was reading down the list, I said, did we pick on them? Did we pick on them? You know, that's called biting the hand that feeds you. And so there was no input on anything. We came here wearing 3 hats. Even though this is funded partially by Utah Office of Tourism, those hats include, is this a place we want to raise a family or retire to? Is it a place we'd want to live? What's the quality of life like? The second way we look is if I was an investor or a site selector or in economic development, is this a place I would want to come and invest in? And then third, as a place to visit, but more than a day trip. Would I make a special trip there? Would I not just pass through on my way to Flaming Gorge or somewhere? And so, just so you know, we have assessed more than 1,500 communities around the world. And we have done it in the United States in 45 states, across Canada, Western Europe, Scandinavia, on and on. In Utah, we started, I met Vicki, I used to sit on the board of the U.S. Travel Association. Vicki Varela, your state tourism director, at the time was a new tourism director. And she sat down, and this, you'll like this, and she said, you know, I'm fairly new at this job. And she goes, but I really, really want to focus on the rural communities in Utah. And I went, yes. Because usually, you know, Salt Lake Valley, Provo, and of course, she inherited the Mighty Five campaign, which has been the most successful state marketing campaign in U.S. history. And now we're trying to figure out, now, how do we get those people to understand that this northern flame, I mean, I always say Flaming Gorge is as good as anything you find out at the southern end of the state. And so she is really working on it. So she created this thing called RURism, rural tourism. And what's really cool is we worked in Park City way back when for the Olympics. We keynoted the State Tourism Conference for a couple of years. And then in 2015, we worked in each of these counties to help them out. And then last year, we came in and secret shopped all of these. So we've hit pretty much all the rural areas. We have not done Duchesne down south of you, but we've done assessments of all of these areas. And then this year, we did San Juan County, and then Paiute County, and Panguitch. We just did Escalante and Panguitch just a month or so ago. I was in Flaming Gorge for the 4th of July holiday, and a couple days after there, and now we're doing you. And then we're coming back to some of these that you see down there. They said, can you come back now that you've done this assessment, sit down with us so we can turn all of these suggestions into recommendations. So we got a pretty good feel for Utah now, and we love it. As a matter of fact, I have said that Utah has more diversity in landscapes than any place in North America. It does. Think about the Bonneville Salt Flats, or the Flaming Gorge Reservoirs, or the Mighty Five and the Red Rock Canyons and the Slick Rock Biking and the mountains of Brian Head and Alta, and you know, all of the ski areas and the Wasatch Front. I mean, amazing. So when we do this, we look at your marketing. Could we find information? What did it say? And was it good enough to close the sale? How do you stack up against everybody else? And boy, the bar is high in Utah when you take those 5 national parks, plus even Flaming Gorge, and then was it easy to get information? And then what we've been doing since, and we had 4 people do that. And we're not going to get too much into the marketing today. I will give a lot of that to Alicia. I'll talk a little bit about it. But the reason is, marketing will bring people to you just once. The only thing that brings them back is the product. And whether you're a hotel, whether you're a rafting service, it's the product. And the product is, what are the experience, what are the activities, what are the amenities like, and what are the people like? And so what we did this week, we looked at your signage, your gateways, wayfinding, overall appeal. And by the way, I had not been in this county before. Matter of fact, when we did the Heber Valley, what's really interesting, we did Heber Valley, and when we're driving here, we're coming up 80, and my nav station says turn right. I said, we can't be going to Heber Valley, we're going that way. And when we did Heber Valley, we did go down past, and we didn't go all the way to Strawberry Reservoir, but we didn't realize that 40 loops all go south before it comes north. So this is our first time. In Flaming Gorge, every time we went to Flaming Gorge, we went up 80 and through Evanston. We came down that way. And so, critical mass, we're going to talk about that, parking, restrooms, information, what is there to see and do, customer service. And so when we started planning this trip, the first thing we did is all of our 4 secret shoppers looked at Dinosaur Land, the website, and they loved it. And as a matter of fact, you're going to see a lot of these see that little 1 there? You know, we would love it, and these are little things, and Lisa's been really grateful because she said, well, is there anything I can do even better? When you say the top 10 things to do, they're a little bit generic. We like it to be specific. So that was one thing you could do. And by the way, through this presentation, you're going to see lots of those, and those, if this will show up, are suggestions. There's no recommendations. Because we never, it'd be presumptuous of me to come in here and say, here's what you need to do in Vernal or wherever you're at. We never talk to you first. So these are suggestions, and there's a lot of them. And most of them are low-hanging fruit. But then what happened is we looked at the website, it was very good, and our secret shoppers got a copy of, come on, show up here. There we go, of the Wall of Bones, of the visitor guide. Now, I gotta tell you that this visitor guide is the best we've seen in the United States. It is that good. Now, there are some fantastic visitor guides. I mean, we were just down in Bryce Canyon, and they have an incredibly beautiful visitor's guide, but it's more general. This one here was useful. It's one of the very first visitor guides we've ever seen that we actually took with us because it had itineraries. It had like this, day one, and it even said, stop here for breakfast, have lunch here, do this. And we actually, you're gonna see, we tried to do some of these itineraries. It has specifics and not generalities. And so really hats off to Alicia and her crew. I mean, it's not easy to go do this where I say, well, we need to pick a restaurant for people to go to. Because some other restaurant, and now, you know, she quietly did this and now it's public. And so, but there were good choices. I mean, the photography, the layout, the fact that it even had some directions how to find things was absolutely fantastic. And all 4 of our secret shoppers, for the first time in our 35 years of doing this, said the visitor guide alone sold us. Usually a visitor's guide says, oh, it's really gorgeous, it's a really pretty area, and let's say lots of hiking, lots of trails, but they never name them. Well, where are they? And so that was what was really great about this. And by the way, we spent time trying to find or experiencing a lot of these. And so it's just really hats off. I mean, that was, for us, was like, yes. And so, you know, and so it was just amazing. And I will tell you what happened, because we did go try to experience some of these. And it's not infallible. There's a couple of things we might suggest you change or add. And so anyway, these are loading really slow for some reason. I'm not too sure why. But it's really good because it's, and by the way, I'm not showing you all the pages. Because it'll tell you, what do you want? Do you want hiking and biking? Do you want, you know, whatever kind of experience you want, you'll find it in there. And another thing that was nice is that it was not chock full of advertising. A lot of times that just kind of ruins the experience. The recreation center, just looking at these pictures and reaching this, we don't even live here, and Jane goes, we should join. And so, I mean, we couldn't wait to see the arch there. And so then, we got that, and it was really great. But then when we arrived, and what we saw on the website were a whole series of these little day trips. And so, you know, my one suggestion, I'd like to see you put these in a little book of day trips rather than have 12 different ones. And we're going to have you add a couple more. But these were excellent. And so the combination of these, for the first time, rather than just general marketing, it was specific, that stuff that you could physically use. Some of these are, we probably want to make a couple of suggestions on, because you're going to see how we use them. And another thing that we saw is almost every restaurant, retail shop we went in, there was visitor information. That's awesome. Because you want visitor information to be in places we can spend money. Because when we ate at the Quarry Steakhouse, there were other people that were in there just to eat. All of a sudden, they would walk out and there's a rack full of these and they're going through them. Yes. And that's how you extend your sale. And so we grabbed all 12 of them. And we didn't get a chance to do all 12. Remember, we've been here for a week. And we thought, you know, before we even left, we thought, I hope there's something to do up there. And boy, were we were like, oh my gosh, I wish we had another 10 days once we arrived. And so really top notch all the way around. And then the other thing that we use for marketing is TripAdvisor. Just so you know, it is the most visited website on the planet, travel website on the planet, by far. And so people use it. We used it, look at top things to do, nature, wildlife, history buffs. We used it for your hotels. I mean, we ended up staying at the Holiday Inn Express. It was rated #1. Good thing we did, since they're a co-sponsor. And you know, so we did that. So #1, just so you know, the top 15% of hotels in terms of quality do 85% of leisure travel business. So if you're wondering why you have some hotels that are now closed, this may be why. Because this is the new thing. And by the way, this is boomers. The Gen Xers were the people that are in their late 30s, 40s. They were ones that didn't mind staying in hostels. You think you'd get a millennial staying in a hostel? Not in your life. They're in this group. So even the new generation is not going to settle for the 1950s, 60s mom and pop hotels. So we did stay at the Holiday Inn Express. They were great, did a great job, you know, and of course one reason we stayed there is because I have like 1 million points with them, and so that was helpful. However, You know that outside each room, and by the way, yeah, that's the room we stayed in, so if you don't like what you see today, please don't fireball that room. Is I thought, wouldn't it be cool if those, instead of were like that, would fit your brand like that? Wouldn't that be cool? I mean, I would just like to see you have such a fantastic brand. I mean, everywhere we went, we ran into people from Germany, from all over Europe. You know what? Dinosaurs, this is it. This is the mothership, right here. Right here. Even though they got a dinosaur museum in Price, they got another museum in Blanding. I mean, we've been to a lot of them in this area, but this is the mothership. And it's really cool. So here is our experience. So we came up Monday early, and we came up 40, of course, and we did come to the town of Ballard, and we're secret shopping, looking for places to spend money. Nice gateway sign into the community, nice pole banners, beautiful Best Western there. I thought that they did a really, really nice job. And as we're driving through, we thought this is really cool. We could pick up some nectarine pieces. You know, your first impression is, okay, we need some grammar schooling up here in this county. But anyway, and I mean, it looked like a neat little place that, so we could stop and actually pick up something and bring it with us. So we didn't see a whole lot of places to spend money in Ballard because we don't know what's there. And so we did go more over into Fort Duchesne, and we did see this. And am I pronouncing it right? Duchesne, right?
Duchesne.
Duchesne. Thank you very much. I'll probably mispronounce it 100 or more times. Duchesne. Didn't know that. See what I mean? So, Duchesne. So we did go to Fort Duchesne, and then we did see the memorial here. And I got to tell you, this is one of the most beautiful statues for Native American tribes I've ever seen. It's just stunning. However, there's no information. There's no information. It doesn't say, well, this is for the Ore, am I pronouncing that one right? Ore tribe, the Utes. You know, it doesn't really say what it's about. We had to go online to figure it out. Now, there is a building here. We have no idea what this is or if it's ever open. What is it? Nobody, you don't even know.
It used to be a museum.
It used to be a museum. I think if it was a gift shop, it would be awesome. But there's no signs, there's no there's not an interpreter sign, there's just nothing. And so you're going, I mean, at first we thought, well, it must be the Justice Center. That sign's right there. You know, we didn't know. But we decided to go down and check it out. And so we did drive down. We saw the Ute Indian tribe, Bottle Hollow Reservoir, RV parking, jet skis, fishing, boating, all of those things. And so we did drive down there, but we don't know where you pay, where you rent the jet skis. If you can, there's no information. So in their case, they're not monetizing the tourism potential at all. Because you see an incredible statue that's enough to get us to stop. And once we stop and get out of our cars, you have a 4 times greater chance of getting these people to spend money. I think if they had Native American art in that building, it doesn't have to be a museum. I think a big gift shop. I mean, the logos and stuff that they create are awesome. I would love to have those on a shirt, you know. But they don't monetize it at all that we know of. We don't know where you go. And then we found what we think is the real Justice Center. And we're going, wow, they have amazing facilities. I mean, they've got a great Head Start program, and you know, so I mean, we're pretty impressed, but we couldn't find any place to spend money. Now, when we get out back to the highway, we do see, you know, the Tribal Plaza, and the Ute Coffee House, and gas stations, and by the way, if our timing would have been right, we probably would have eaten here. Because, just so everybody knows, particularly in the restaurant industry, we all travel. Have you ever said these words? That looks like a nice place to eat. That does. So really good job there. The only reason we didn't eat there is we were here too early for lunch, and so we kept going towards Vernal. But they did a good job with beautification, the look and feel of it. And by the way, it was #1 in Fort Duchesne. Of 3. And so we kept going, and we didn't see a whole lot of spending outside of the little tribal plaza in that area. And so we did keep coming until we saw Vernal. I would love it to say, welcome to dinosaur country, Vernal, Utah. You know, that would be really cool. Just, I mean, you got the dinosaur there, but just cemented, the first thing they see is dinosaur country. And when we came into town, we were blown away by how beautiful your main street is. Just blown away. And even before you get there, even where you've got, you know, where TJ Maxx and all that is, even this landscaping and everything, to you may say it's a pain to maintain, you know, et cetera, but it is not lost on your visitors. And so we saw what a beautiful town. And that is how important that is. You know, as we're going here, we're just seeing this. We even talk to locals that say we just love driving up and down Main Street because it's so beautiful. That's pretty cool. And so I don't know if the city maintains all these. Does the city of Vernal do this? It's fantastic. I mean, it is just stunning. I couldn't take enough pictures, and we're going to be showing you everywhere now. And, you know, even a little place like this, I know they're leasing space in there, but even these little water features here, as visitors, we notice all of this stuff. Now, the one thing I should say is this guy looks a little, you know, what should I say, long in the tooth. All right, pun intended. He looks a little bit tired and everything. It looks more like Godzilla than a dinosaur. I guess Godzilla was a dinosaur, wasn't he? I don't know. And so, you know, I do want to give the Ford dealership a bad time. I mean, come on, sheep? How about a dinosaur eating the sheep? I mean, you're selling Ford trucks. You want to be masculine. You want to be a wolf in sheep's clothing, not a sheep. So that was going, what the heck? Where are you going sheep? I think it'd be really cool to have a, you know, velociraptor there with his mouth right around that sheep. Just kidding. But anyway, I just thought, I don't know how that ties in at all, but, you know, but still, good curb appeal. Good curb appeal overall. We did come in a little bit, and we did see where the courthouse is, where the county facilities are. Saw a helicopter there, and thought that was pretty cool. We did go to this little kiosk here, and probably inside, somebody did a lot of time where they did like stories in it. It's so faded you can't see any of it. You should maintain these at least once a year. And there's really no information there. I think that on the inside you should have brochure holders so that if we didn't have this, then we could get it there. So there was this brochure, but nothing to take with us. And when people see lots of information in kiosks, they don't say, honey, could you go back to the car and grab a clipboard so we can write down some of this stuff? So it's good to have brochure distribution. And when we got here, because we were driving around, it was getting close to dinner time, we did drive around the back, and when we saw that, we went, now that is cool. I think that every single county vehicle, okay, except police department, should be wrapped with these graphics. I would even see City of Vernal Parks Department, Public Works, they should all be wrapped with this. If you don't do Dinosaur Land, do Dinosaur Country. You know, and I just thought that was really, really awesome. And I noticed when we met with Leisha for a few minutes, what did she do? She pulls up the Holiday Inn Express and she parks it right under the porte-cochere so that everybody could see it. I thought that was, yay! Way to go. So we did drive down, it's just fantastic, I love that. You'll want to stay forever, the dinosaurs did, you know, I thought that was cool. And so you could say, well, 150 million years in the making. You know, downtown looked gorgeous as we're driving through. And I'm going to get to what happened when we were on foot. So it was dinner time, and so we looked at TripAdvisor, and we did eat at Plaza Mexicana. And I got to tell you, that was one of the best Mexican restaurants I've ever eaten at. I mean, it wasn't the usual 1 through 10 plate with 2 enchiladas. I mean, it was fantastic. I was really impressed. Nice atmosphere, good people there. It was packed when we were there on Monday night. Of course, it was Pioneer Day, so we got here for that. However, Monday night, we could hear fireworks. We had no idea where you're celebrating Pioneer Day. You have no signs, not even temporary signs saying join us. Nothing. One thing that you have, and I'm going to say it once and I'm going to say it a bunch of times, is you do a lousy job getting your visitors out of their cars into your spending districts. There's nothing that says, hey, well, join us for Pioneer Day at Western Park or whatever. We didn't know what Western Park was until we started asking around. And so, one thing I want you to do is I want you to create a best of, guys. The very best of Dinosaur Country. And in it, I want you to promote your businesses. This happens to be in a town of 10,000, and it is Alpena, Michigan. So it's about your size, 30,000 in the county, you've got like 35,000 in your county. Very similar. But what you need to do is, one thing you need to understand about tourism. Tourism, I hate to say it, is a means to an end. If you earn your money in Uinta County, and you ever spend any of it in Heber Valley, Salt Lake City, Provo, wherever you go, that's called leakage. The cities that win import more cash than they leak out. So when you go somewhere else, tourism comes in here, hopefully it fills that gap and then beyond. So the whole trick with tourism is getting people to spend money, because you know what? Going to McConkey Ranch out there, I think we gave them a $5 donation. And we're not spending a whole lot of money when we're on your reservoirs doing this. We spend the money when you're in town. You need to promote your very best of. In their case, we want you to promote, and I'm even giving the criteria. But we always say if you promote your best restaurants, your best retail shops, and your best activities, that's awesome. Now in this case, I must have given away theirs. This is for a different place. This one's in Iowa. But it's this kind of a brochure. And by the way, in the case of Alpena, each one of them was invited. I'm going to give you the criteria to be in this. They paid $400 for their panel, so it's a public-private partnership. Because the number one asked question of visitors in the world is, where's a good place to eat? Please don't just hand me a list. Where would you eat? And wouldn't it be cool? By the way, there's no lodging in this. And so wouldn't it be cool if it went up to the front desk, because that's the number one asked question at the front desks across America. Where's a good place to eat? Wouldn't we say, well, you know what? Here's a brochure that has the very best of Dinosaur Country. And it's got our top restaurants in it. And in this case, when they did this, there were people that said, well, you didn't include me in there, and I think I'm just as good as them. That would never happen here, right? I didn't think so. Okay. And so what they did with this is really cool. Is they took this brochure and they snail mailed it to every household in their county. So they printed like 20,000 of them, and they mailed out like 10,000. Because there's like 3 people per house. They put a little card with it. The card said, and I'm paraphrasing, the number one reason people travel is to visit friends and family. We hope you'll hang on to this brochure so that when friends and family visit you, you will share with them the very best of what Vernal or Dinosaur Country has to offer. Because we believe that every dining room table should be a concierge desk. Within days, people were coming downtown and going, my gosh, I got this in the mail. How long have you been here? And the mercer would go, 10 years? It changed everything. And you can do sample criteria. Here's the criteria they used. Number one, they needed to have good curb appeal. They needed to be open year-round in their case. They needed to be open till at least 7 p.m. In some places we say, well, if we did that, we wouldn't even have a brochure. And so they must be open 6 days a week. They can be closed on Mondays to try to create some consistency. And they had to be unique to the area. So sorry, McDonald's and Taco Bell and everybody else. This is about, when we're here, we don't want to eat at the chains. We want to eat at things that are local. They need to be highly regarded by somebody other than themselves. And this way you can get past the politics. I think you should market your top 4 or 5 restaurants, your top 4 or 5 retail shops, your top dozen attractions. I mean, a lot of them are in there, but this would get us, we want to spend money, help us out. Okay? And so immediately, I would add Ute Crossing Grill. Even though we didn't get to eat there, we read the reviews. They were all excellent and very good. I would absolutely include it. And I would include Plaza Mexicana. It was that great. Now, if that Veterans Memorial for the tribes had more information, I would absolutely include it, but there's no information there. It's just a thing to look at for 5 minutes. So if they would put some interpretive signs and stuff to help bring us in, I would have included it because it is a fantastic spot. And by the way, we were probably here, particularly in Vernal, 45 minutes before your businesses do very little in the way of monetizing tourism. The city made your town look fantastic. The businesses are not taking advantage of it, generally speaking. And we were like, oh my gosh, there's a huge disconnect here. So that's something that I want to let you know. Now, fast fact two, the first one's about lodging. We stay at the highest end. Is the number one activity of visitors in the world is shopping, dining, and entertainment in a pedestrian-friendly setting. It's not the reason we come, it's the number one activity. And guess what else? That is where 80% of the non-lodging spending takes place, and you're not getting it. You know, I mean, there you go. I've said this everywhere I go. Springdale is the best city in the state of Utah. Better than Park City, better than all. Population 800. Now, did you know, yes, they're right at the entrance to Zion National Park, but guess what? There are people now going to Springdale as the destination, and while they're there, they'll go in and hike the Narrows, or they'll go into Zion. And by the way, all their retail stores are open until 9 and 10 o'clock at night. And by the way, we were working in Springdale because it had been so overrun. The Utah Department of Transportation was going to widen the highway right through the middle of town. And I said, no, don't do it. I want you to narrow the highway, put a parking structure at each end, if you know Springdale, because you already have a trolley through there, and I want you to widen the sidewalks to 20 feet. And the Department of Transportation is going to do it. So they do listen. And we've had them at the table. As a matter of fact, in Utah, there was a really cool thing that happened that Vicki and her staff at Utah Office of Tourism orchestrated, and that was getting the Department of Transportation, the state park director, rural communities, your trails, at the same table at the same time so they're not working in silos. Pretty cool. And so they're getting it. They're getting that. They have, as a matter of fact, Springdale, population 800, has the highest per capita retail sales of any city in the state of Utah. Not bad for a town of 800. And then, by the way, 70% of all consumer retail spending now takes place after 6 p.m. Are you open? No. You roll up your streets at 6 o'clock, for the most part. And so this is why it's really important to promote your anchor tenants. What's open after 6? Besides a few restaurants. And so that is so critical to your success. And if you want millennials here, younger generation, they want to live in places that have something to do after 6. So that was our first day. We kind of checked it out, had dinner, checked into the hotel, and then the next day we decided to head out. And the first thing we did is we went out to Jensen. Went out to Jensen, went to the State Visitor Information Center. One thing we would love to see there is brochure distribution, so when they're closed, we can still grab a brochure or two. And then, by the way, you should do this all over the place. This is like a little real estate brochure holder. I mean, just those in various locations, so that when retail is closed, people can still get visitor information or your best of brochure. By the way, the reason this is important, you may say, well, the internet's number one. Prior to traveling, word of mouth is number one. So when we start posting pictures of dinosaurs on our Facebook pages, I know all of our family and friends and grandkids, everybody, they're going to be seeing that and go, whoa, we need to go there. So that's word of mouth, friends and family, that's social media. The internet, number 2, by far. And then articles read about you, advertising, brochures, a third of the time, roughly. So it's still important. But guess what? Once we arrive, brochures are even more than the internet. 81%. And we want a brochure that I can grab and walk into Plaza Mexicana and sit there and read it while we're eating. That's the one time we don't want to be on our phones. We will look at a brochure. And then the internet is number 2. And then word of mouth. Where's a good place to eat? Ask your locals. And so we'd love to see you. By the way, we have a whole video library, and Lisa, you'll have access for this for the next 6 months or whatever. So if you have people that want to watch some of these. And she's watched some of them already. And as a matter of fact, I think that was part of how they redid this and made it the best ever. And so even doing little things like this, I saw this in Flemington, New Jersey, where they bought a little bus stop. But then what they did is they turned it into a little visitor information center. So making sure we can grab stuff. Now you do a good job. They're in the restaurants in most of the places. But you can even do this where we're not in one of those. What we're trying to do is get people that are blowing through you to stop. Grab a brochure, maybe they'll stay a little longer. This is North Platte, Nebraska. I love that. They paid a local craftsperson. They got a state guide, a local guide, and their best of brochure. So we did go in, and the lady in there was very, very nice. This is very first class. She did a great job. And we love, even the billboard like this, and the first thing I thought of, I was just sitting there going, life eliminated. And I thought, well, I better not change that. So, but for the dinosaurs. But anyway, yeah, they were eliminated. And so we did go down, now we're heading out to the National Monument. And one of the challenges we had is everywhere where you have dinosaurs, you have it fenced off. So nobody can stand next to them and get their picture taken. Don't you understand the power of social media? I thought, man, could we get rid of this fence right here, and actually I'm sitting on some lawn, so it looks like if we took a picture, it looks like he was really there in the wild. But instead you have him sitting on a parking lot you can't get a good picture. And so I think that was too bad. We did go to the visitor center. I think it's great. I'm not so sure that this fence is really going to keep him out or keep him in. But I just think I wish that you wouldn't do that. If you put a small sign that says, please don't climb on the stegosaurus or whatever it is, I'm not very well versed in that. Grandkids would already be correcting me. But just have a sign, please don't climb. We've seen them. They have them in Rapid City. They have them in other places. But, I think it's too bad that you fence them all in and make them so they're not part of the experience, even in town. And so, because it's just a great opportunity, somebody can go up there and put their, that's what they do, and it's going to be on Facebook. That is how you spread the word for no money. Instead, we do what Gene did. We stood there and we took that picture. It's much more effective if we're standing next to the dinosaur. And so, but once again, we went in and it was fantastic. Really great displays in there. And it's not very often you see national monuments actually tell you if you have 2 hours, if you have half a day, if you have a full day or more, fantastic. What was really good, it wasn't just interpretive, it was actually helpful and useful, and it incentivizes us to stay longer. And that's a message. I'm going to take this, I'm going to show it because we do a lot of National Park Service stuff, and I'm going to say, I wish everybody did that. That's pretty cool. And by the way, this alone is worth a trip to Utah. This is the best dinosaur exhibit on the planet. On the planet. And I don't know that we've seen them all, but we've seen most of them, but that is absolutely fantastic. I mean, the interpretive people there do a fantastic job. They'll take a laser pointer, they'll tell you what you're seeing here, why the bones are all jumbled. I mean, the displays do an incredible job telling you about this period of time and how these became unearthed. And the fact that they actually let you touch a bone, but you can't touch a fake dinosaur is beyond me. But still, just being able to do that is pretty cool. James going, man, I wish you wouldn't have taken all these pictures. But it was fantastic. I mean, and these are the kinds of things, this is a family, what are they doing? They're taking a little kid by here. He can't get close to the one outside, he can't, and we don't want him walking in there, of course. But the point is, if you make it a little more immersive, you get more of that social media content. But overall, absolutely fantastic. Just fantastic. And you don't know how many interpretive center museums and state parks that have been at, but this is just it's world class. I mean world class. And you know what? I would love to see this become a national park. Now, we've worked down in San Juan County where they put no bears ears on their stores and all that. But I'm telling you, I mean, even though, I mean, this is run by the Park Service, I'm pretty sure, am I right? But having a national park puts you in a league because foreign visitors in particular don't know what a national monument is, but they know what a national park is. I think it'd be fantastic. I don't know the politics or what's behind it, but it is worthy of that by far. And so, because it also spans all the line. Now, when we got here, of course, the Chamber of Commerce did not deliver on the promise of giving us this weather. We were expecting that. I mean, Jerry, you know what I mean? And we were here Monday, Tuesday, and it like dumped. So it was hard to get good photographs, but this area is incredible. We did not have time to go drive it. One of those day trip things was like 160 miles long. I said, isn't there a 10-mile section we could go do? You know, for somebody that's not going to spend all day out there. Because we're working, we can't go experience the things that a typical visitor would. But that route that they have in this guide and in your day trip guide is 161 miles long, takes 4.5 hours. So it'd be nice if there were some little alternatives, like they put inside if you have half a day, if you have a couple hours. I think it would be fantastic. It's just a really great job. Just fantastic. And so absolutely on our best stuff, by the way, to get you past the politics, I'm going to tell you what should be in that brochure. Okay? I might not have everything, but it's going to be close. So absolutely, and I put the visitor center with that. As we're leaving there, we did see the rafting trips, and it looked fairly nice. This is in the middle of the day. It was closed. I'm not too sure when it's open. You know, there's no brochures outside. But of all the brochures we picked up, this is probably who we would have went with. Just because the brochure did such a good job. Okay, where are they? Way to go. Okay. And it's amazing what you learn after here a few days, and I'll get to that coming up. But they just did a really good job promoting it. And by the way, once again, this is a brochure that was useful, not just a general sales pitch. Because it's got what's in the trip, what to bring, where to meet, where we go, the hiking, the day tours. It's got the costs in there. It's got everything you need to close the sale. And I wish other people would do that. So they did a good job. And if you go to TripAdvisor, there they are. Look at that, 170 reviews, all 5s. Pretty cool. So we're coming into town, and we can't help but see that. And I think the curb appeal of the field house, I would say museum, the field house is exceptional. I mean, just great. This is just on the side, but on the front, everywhere, it's great. I wish it had a little more, as you're walking in, it's kind of like, what? There's no dinosaurs here, there's nothing. And I just wish it was pumped up just a little bit to give you that sense of excitement that you're about to go in. But once you go inside, it is fantastic. And he's checking everybody out here. It's just really, really well done. When you take this and combine that with the quarry, this is the #1 dinosaur destination in North America easily. Easily. And even though you can find them in Arizona, Colorado, everywhere else, the combination of this and the park out there is absolutely fantastic. They do a great job. And what's really cool is it's not just one period in time, the Jurassic period or whatever was before or after. It's clear up to woolly mammoths. And I mean, everything here has been unearthed from, I think, basically 150 million years ago right up to now. And really cool displays. You know, I had to look through the glass to do this one. But there you go. These two things all by themselves are your anchor tenants and make this county worth a special trip. I wish that, once again, these were a little more approachable, you know, so that they're always behind ropes and everything. The visitor center in there, I think Alicia just opened, right? If you haven't been in, you've got to go check it out. It is awesome. They did a really good job organizing with big photographs to tell you about the history, the local finds, brochure distribution. I mean, it's really, really well done. So I can't give you enough kudos for your marketing. But I haven't gotten to how we spend money here yet, which is the important thing. And I would absolutely include the Fieldhouse State Park Museum, no question. So we did that in the morning. Now remember, we're going faster than most visitors. So then we go to TripAdvisor and we decide to eat lunch. And this was a little bit confusing. First of all, we tried like 3 or 4 doors before we found the right one. And I'm going, is this a restaurant or is this where we book our, we couldn't figure out what was what. Well, then we thought, well, maybe this garage opens up and that's where these guys are. Maybe the brew house is there. We never could figure that part out. So I don't know what they have. Okay, so here you go. You went, woohoo, now you can go, oh, rats.
They used to be in that garage, to give them kudos. They just barely moved.
Okay, where'd you move to?
On North Vernal.
Okay, what you need to do is put a sign and say, we're now at North Vernal, you know what I mean? 1 block left, do something. Because we went in there, we went, where do you book the river guide services? You know, and so that's it. So we did go eat in there, and we had a good lunch, and it was a little bit, I would call it Vernal's, and I don't mean this to be demeaning, kind of the redneck place. You know, it's kind of cool bluegrass country, you know, which has its place, by the way. For us, it was like, yeah, we tend to be a little more upscale there, but it was good. People were in there good. It was relaxed. So we did have lunch there. I don't know that I would put it as a best of, but it was really good. And then here, you know, here, this is even worse than the other places. We want to make sure nobody gets even remotely close to these. I mean, you would think that these guys, you know, if we put a lesser fence there, so you know what? You can't even photograph it. You got to start thinking about people and not, oh man, we don't want people climbing on them and all this, you know, oh man, the lawyers are going to get involved. What you do is you ruin the visitor experience. Nowhere in this county could we stand next to a dinosaur and put our arm around it, or like I do for the grandkids, I always put my arm in its teeth and go, you know, we couldn't do it. And so it's pretty cool. Now, what we did is we saw this, Dinosaur Land. So we figured, okay, we're going to go into the Heritage Museum. We're going to see lots of dinosaurs. As a matter of fact, I mean, that's what it says, Dinosaur Land, and there it is. What would you think? So we did go inside, and we did see lots of exhibits. Now, one thing I would do is I want you to start telling stories, not just you know, words to avoid in museums, artifacts, collections. You know, I mean, even the word museum for millennials is like, I'm nodding off. So I'd love to see you tell stories. This is great. You show some good, it's got great artifacts, lots of stuff. But I would love to see this museum say, look, we're going to start 150 million years ago, and we're going to have a museum where you could walk through time right up to when the pioneers first came here, and right up to modern times. You know what I mean? I think it'd be really cool to do a museum that was a walk through all the ages. Now, you're not trying to compete with the Fieldhouse, but just something to tie it in together. You know, where did the Native Americans come in here? And if you could walk around the museum, I think it'd be really cool. But the thing is about telling stories. We're working in Elko, Nevada at the Northeastern Museum. And by the way, they charge like $6 to get in, and I went $6, and they handed me a receipt and said, by the way, it's an all-day pass. I went, yeah, right. The average museum visit, by the way, for heritage museums is 20 to 40 minutes. But they did a cool thing in there. Even where they showed branding irons, they didn't say here's branding irons. They said in the West, marking a beef with a red-hot iron is like placing a 4-footed stake under lock and key. The brand shows legal ownership. And then it goes on about occasionally a career in the cattle business was launched by illegally altering a brand, but the rustler shenanigans usually were halted at the end of a swinging rope. They told the story of this rancher whose cattle were disappearing. They were down in this valley, kind of a dusty valley in Nevada, and the cattle were disappearing. The ranch hands would go down there. The fences were closed. There was no animal footprints. There was no carcasses, but the cattle were disappearing. So finally, two of the ranch hands straight up on a hill overlooking that valley. First night, nothing happened. Second night, nothing happened. The third night in the morning, just before dawn, they could hear somebody down there going, whoo, whoo, yelping and everything. So they jump out of their sleeping bags, grab their rifles, they go running down the hill, and there they caught Crazy Tex Hazelwood wearing these shoes so that it wouldn't be caught with human footprints in that dusty sand. See, they tell these stories like this. Where's the beef? And you know what? I was in there for 4 hours. When you get people to spend 2 hours spending doubles, I'm always going to come back to the spending. That's a benefit of tourism. I was working in Huntsville, Texas. This is the Hearts Museum, helping every American remember through serving. It's a veterans. But the whole thing happened in there. I went, oh, not another veterans museum. I mean, I've seen so many museums, thousands. And when I walked in, they had these little 10-foot booths. And in every booth was a soldier telling his or her story. From World War II, Korean War, Vietnam, I mean, right up to Afghanistan, you know, the wars we're fighting now. They have soldiers from the US, Canada, Great Britain, Australia. And I walked up to this one, there was a guy there, his name is Michael Kamela. I had just seen the movie Saving Private Ryan. They say the first 20 minutes of that movie is the most exceptional piece of filmmaking in history. Here's Michael Kamela, who fought in Omaha Beach that day. A little embarrassed to be there. And I said, so, and he was telling a story. By the way, this is, I can't remember, this is him, and there's another picture somewhere. He joined the service with his best buddy who he'd known since he was 3. They joined at 17. They're over there, and he says, we were at Omaha Beach on one of those landing crafts. We're pulling up the beach, the Germans are just shooting down at us. And he said, we were so scared that we wet our pants. And he said, and him and his buddy were in the same regiment, staying right next to each other. They lowered down that ramp, coming up to the shore, and he said, instantly my buddy got shot through the hip. So I grabbed him and we jumped off of that into 45-degree water. He said, we weighed like 100 pounds. We're carrying like 70 pounds of gear. We sank like rocks. He said, I was underwater. I could hear the bullets whizzing by. And he said, I was underwater. I thought for sure I was going to drown. He said, please, Lord, help me. Please deliver me, whatever. And he says, the next thing you remember, he said a prayer, and he pulled his buddy up on the beach and looked at him and been shot through the head while he was underwater. I will never, ever forget Michael Kamela, who died a couple years ago. When you tell the stories, people will never forget them. It's the stories. So when we see hand carts, we need to know what it was like. I'll never forget going to the Oregon Trail Museum where they said, 300,000 people perished coming down the Oregon Trail from Missouri or wherever they were coming from. And it was equivalent to somebody dying every 70 feet of those 2,000 miles. That gets you. When you can evoke emotion, they will never forget you. So I urge you to do that. Tell the stories. So, back to happier things. So we went down, and so we did go down. I mean, it looked great. We started heading out. But that was a big deal. When we were leaving the museum, there were 6 people getting off of motorcycles. And we were walking out, and they said, so in the museum here, how many dinosaurs do they have in there? I said, no, this is a heritage museum. It's really about the history of the area. They put on their helmets, got on their bikes. But what I don't want you to do is have people come here expecting one thing and getting something different. I think it's a great museum, by the way. But I just want it to be stories. And I thought, boy, there is a way, there's got to be a way to tie these things together. Does that make sense? While we were there, we walked out and saw this, and I got a question. Is this ever used? I know, it was used last night, right? You don't see it from the highway. There's no signs that say there's a summer, is there like a summer concert series or something that every Thursday? So we drove by there last night about 9 o'clock, and they're already packing up. I don't know when it starts. You do nothing to tell visitors that you have stuff for them that will get them to stay here longer and get them to spend money. Nothing. Where's a reader board that says, hey, by the way, you got a reader board there. And people, and you know what, you'll learn the history really quick when you start talking to locals. Well, when they moved the museum from this site, they cut the wire by accident and they never bothered to hook it back up. Now, I don't know what's true, what's not. I'm going, you got a reader board, and it doesn't tell you that anything's ever going, it just doesn't work. Take advantage of it. I don't know, maybe it doesn't work anymore. But while we were there, we're going, oh my gosh. Here's a big problem that you have in Vernal, is that most of your visitors, I would probably guess that, and this is just a guess, 95% of your visitors only know you from 40, Main Street. Yet, from Main Street, you can't see that, and you just go, oh my gosh. This is what you would see in a town or a city of 150,000 people. I mean, we're like, and by the way, I'm just getting started. And so, you need a wayfinding system. Here's what you can do. If you're coming up Highway 40, you will find the Utah State campus, but it takes you right past a mobile home park. Really? Why are you sending people that way? Okay? I can tell you where to get a driver's license. I can tell you where the animal shelter is. But I can even tell you where the airport is. And we did even see a sign to the golf course. But you know what? There's no directional signs to this. Western Park, to your rec center, to, I mean, yeah, if people can see what you had here, they'd be going, oh my gosh, I want to live here. I want to invest here. But all they see is what they see on 40. We don't even see that little amphitheater back there by the library. We had no idea it existed. If we weren't doing an assessment, we went, not much here, let's just keep driving. And that is a big problem. Wayfinding is signs like that. And I know it's a state highway. I'm telling you, the Department of Transportation and people say, hey, I have never tried to work with DOT. Well, you know what? They're at the table. They will see this presentation. I even have a main contact said, okay, you need help there. But you know what? You need to do it. This is in Appleton, Wisconsin. This here is about $1,500. It's put on existing power poles. It's got aqueous coating, so ice, graffiti, stuff won't stick on it. It's got stainless steel hardware on it. I mean, by the way, a wayfinding sign is never more than 5 items. They should be decorative. It should look like dinosaur. Your wayfinding should be decorative. And don't go to UDOT and say, we expect you to pay for it. You pay for it. There are grants. There are federal transportation grants to do this. These are wayfinding signage. And so it is one of your top priorities. Wayfinding system plan, particularly here. Your gateways, your entries, your attractions, your amenities, billboards, marketing displays, that's all included. And by the way, we couldn't even find visitor information. We'll get to that in a bit. Okay? By the way, every single city, town, county that has done a wayfinding system has seen an increase in retail sales and services. It's an investment, not an expense. And by the way, navigation systems are not a substitute for wayfinding. You know what we do with navigation systems on our phones or in our cars? We type in things we already know exist. We don't know that you have a rec center or a convention center or conference center. We don't know that you have a major library. We probably might find the library in there, but we don't know. And so it's not a substitute. It reinforces all of these things, increases spending. And by the way, wayfinding increases retail sales service by an average of 18%. It builds community pride. And it's as much a science as art. This is not a public works project. And so this is Greenville, South Carolina. This is about $3,500. It's freestanding. But you know what they do here? It's really cool. You know what you can do temporarily? You have pole banners. Put on coal banner, convention center, recreation center. You can do wayfinding today and just do that temporarily. You know, I think it'd be awesome. And by the way, look what they do in Greenville. More to enjoy down the side streets. Because yesterday, and by the way, the side comes off and they can slip in. So if a business goes away, they can do this. And by the way, businesses pay like $10 a month for that. Helps keep it maintained. But yesterday when we got back to our hotel room, there was a little bag waiting for us in our room from Alicia, which thank you very much. I already ate all the chocolate, can you tell? But it was really cool. It said, "Little Sweet Pea." Last night at about 9:30, we went and found it. It's a fantastic little shop. We think it should be on your best stuff, but we would have never known about it because there's nothing that says more to explore. Nothing to get us off of 40. And so, we absolutely, when we drove by it, we looked at their Facebook page and we went, what a great little shop. Absolutely needs to be in there. And so anyway, we were just blown away by it. And then when you look down the street, you see the incredible hospital. We're going, I had to double check, is this really a city of 10,000 people? They said, well, maybe they serve 100,000. No, you serve like 30,000. I mean, I know Flaming Gorge comes here to shop. We're just blown away by what you have. And we're only looking on the north side. And so, after we did all that, looked around and everything, we did go to visitor information. Now, and here's I always think the Chamber of Commerce should be the most beautiful storefront in any city because you represent the business community. The Chamber has kind of an ugly storefront, no offense. Part of it is you're in a 70s building, which doesn't help. But I even thought, let's sweep this every day. And I know how it works at the Chamber. I know how it works in businesses. We always come in the back. Is that right? You walk in the back. I mean, that's what we do. And so I think that, I even thought, man, what I would do is I'd remove this landscaping. I'd put pavers there. I would make that a little patio. I'd put a table and chair there. Even if nobody's ever sitting there, if you just put a Catalina umbrella there and a table and chair, people could go, oh, what's that over there? Because umbrellas draw people's eyes. And so I don't know what you can do. But by the way, we just wanted to stand out. I mean, this is Cannon Beach, Oregon, town of 2,500. And I even said, and by the way, can you see the sign that says visitor information? See it? Oh, it's right there. You only see it as you're driving past. It needs to be turned so it's perpendicular. All signage, retail and otherwise, should be perpendicular to pedestrian and vehicular traffic. Yes, I know you'll need to double-side it, but turn it. So at least one direction, we see that you're there. Okay? And so from there, we decided to go out and check out Steinecker Lake and some of these. We're kind of on that side. So we did go out to Steinecker State Park. It's beautiful. We did see this, and we didn't know. Are the restrooms closed? Is the whole trail closed? Does anybody know? Is it all closed? It's all closed. Okay, we weren't too sure, but, and so that's too bad. Now, is it going to reopen? Hopefully. What happened?
Got flooded.
Oh, got flooded. Okay, great. So anyway, not a big deal. I mean, at least it says closed. It's better to say closed and have us go in there than find out. And so we just weren't sure what that was. And by the way, they had this map there. I love this map. That would be worth buying as a poster. That is so cool. And I love this. This is just one of the coolest maps, everything. I just thought this, and this is right in there. And I thought, wow, that'd be a cool map to have. I mean, doesn't it look like something you'd frame on a wall? Oh, that was cool. So then we thought, okay, we're out in this area. We're going to go to the arch. Okay? And so we used this. We followed the directions. We thought we were following the directions. It says you turn in the middle of the curve, you turn left, you go down dirt road about half a mile over a small wash, you'll see the sign, turn left. So far, so good. Then it says in there to go down a little further and you're going to drive through a sagebrush channel. Every single road is a sagebrush channel. And it'll say, turn to the left, and it veers to the right. It's like, Eleman to the left, Eleman to the right. I mean, it's like, what? It was so overly complicated. So then we came to a place and we thought, well, maybe this is it. So we literally drove down this really sandy, narrow area, And Avis will probably never rent to me again because the brand new Jeep Cherokee that they rented us had like 20 miles on it, and it now has about 1,000. And so I said, it's a Jeep Cherokee, it's a rental car, yeah, let's just go for it. So we drove all the way down there, and Jane's going, this is not good, this is not good. I mean, we can't back out this whole way. We get down there, I find this, here we are parked right here. So I thought, well, maybe it's up this. So then I climb all the way up here. And you know what? The base is like 6,000 feet. You know, we're from Phoenix, it's like from sea level. It's like, and so we climb all the way up there. I can't find an arch anywhere. And so then I came back and said, okay, let's look at this map. I said, you know, I think we just went up there. And so I thought, okay. Well, and it says, tour veers left to the right is where you can ride the Red Mountain OHV. So I think we were on the OHV trail. So, in a car. And so then it says, here you'll find a fence followed by a gulch. We found a little fence right here, a dilapidated little fence. That's why we went up there. And so then we finally did make it down. We finally made it down here. And then you'll find a fence followed by a gulch. If you're not driving a high clearance vehicle, yeah. I debated on it. I said, Gene, I think we can do this in the Jeep. She was about ready to start filing the papers. No, so we decided we better not do that because this guy was all like, trying to get up there. And said, now, what it does say is, there's where I put it. Oh, that's a real car. And it says tour veers left. Well, so we started driving down this road. Veers left. Well, it doesn't veer left. You go straight. And so and to the right is where you can ride Red Mountain OHV. I mean, so we're just, oops, did I go the wrong way on there? Okay, so there we go. And so tour turns left, but it doesn't turn left. It goes straight through that gulch. And then, here we go. And so we end up going down, let me go back to that. So you can see what we did here is I think that we ended up doing that one. Then we ended up doing that one. Then we ended up doing that one. And we never did that one. So I was hiking up the very tops of these. Am I anywhere near the arch here? No? Yeah? No? I mean, we can see this is the private property. Almost there's this incredible scenery up there. And by now, it's starting to get really dark. You can see the clouds. I mean, and we never found it. We aborted the mission. So we're back at the car. And by the way, when we're down there, another family was just arriving as we're getting ready to leave. And it was a mom and dad and 3 kids. I hope they're not still out there. Because they were doing the same thing we were. They had maps. They were trying to use cell phones. They were going down and going, I'm going to try to go tell them we're going the wrong way. I already tried that, been there, done that. They could do it. Finally, when we were leaving, there was another family coming out. And I said, did you guys find it? They said, oh yeah, we hike here all the time. And I said, well, we could never find it. I said, well, what did they give you for directions? And I pulled out the 1 hour, the day trip thing. They said, no. Just stay on the road. It was said, come to the main fence and the gate, work your way through that gully, preferably wide. By the way, they had a big old Jeep, not one of our cars, but a real Jeep. And they said, no, once you come through that gulch, just follow the road all the way around, you come to it. Oh, great. What it had is the directions had all this, here you'll see this, here you'll see that, there's where the OHV, instead of directions to the arch. So we never found it. And I doubt if the other family found it. And when we left, it was starting to rain, they were still out there. And so, but you know what? I think, maybe it's better as a hidden gem. I wasn't too sure. It looks pretty cool, but this is not easy to find. At least for us. You may be saying, well, you guys are such idiots. It's really easy. But as the direction we say, just follow that road around, you'll see it. And by the way, people even said you were probably standing on it. It's not that easy. You probably walk. Because, as you go out there, there's a little ridge to the left. I walked along that ridge. I can't see it anywhere. They said, well, you're probably on top of it. Just didn't know. So, then we decided to go find the Red Fleet dinosaur tracks. And so we did, and they said, by the way, thank goodness, thank you, Jerry. And by the way, when we went to the chamber, Jerry helped this, and she was exceptional. And yeah, she did really good. And she said, when you go see the dinosaur tracks, don't go in the main entrance to Red Fleet, go in the second one, right? Go in the second one. So we did. So we decided to go in the second, I can't remember if that was it or not, but we did go down there, and we used this one too, so we used the combination of these. We did drive down there, it's a beautiful drive. And so we drove down probably past where the turn is, and then it says something about tour turns right. So look, tour turns right. So we said, okay, let's go down there, and we ended up right here. And it says, day use only, no overnight, no motorcycles, no snowmobiles, no fires, no dogs on beach, entering Red Fleet State Park, but it's all full of barbed wire fences. And so I don't know, but this is really close to the lake. Are the tracks down here? Does anybody know? No, we're not even close, okay. So then we figured, we did not go down there, by the way. So then we went back out, and then we saw this kiosk, and then went, oh, okay. In the directions, I just looked for the information kiosk on the right. But that wasn't in the directions. And so once we got to the kiosk, it was pretty cool. It says, when you reach the edge of the reservoir, now from there, you know where the reservoir looks like? Looks like it's about 30 miles away. It's not that far, but, and it talks about the tracks, and they talk about, the tracks were left by the Dilophosaurus and all on and on. Really good information. Follow the trail to the side to a unique set of dinosaur footprints. And you know what? By the time we're going out, this looks, and by the way, the trail is not clearly defined. So finally, 2 days later, we were told, what? Why don't you just go down to the park and get a boat and just paddle across? Thanks! And so it's really a great park. And by the way, when we ask locals where they go, you have like reservoirs every 10 feet here. They're everywhere. But the locals, almost universally said here is where they go to hang out. So we know it's a cool place. It really is stunningly beautiful. And we're told, rent a boat and paddle across. We didn't even know, can you rent boats there? Can you rent stand-up paddleboards? Okay, can you rent like little kayaks, canoes? How come there's no signs? It's not in the state park brochure. It's nowhere. You are missing the ability to monetize your tourism by so much. Because if we're here, we didn't know it. I mean, we drove around down there. I couldn't find any rental places. I mean, these are just you're missing so many opportunities. By the way, these create summer jobs for your youth. We're at the trading post. There was a young gal there, 16 years old. She goes, I wish I had some more summer. She works there, but she goes, and I said, well, why? You should, do you stand up paddleboard? She goes, yeah. I said, would you be willing to teach people how to stand up paddleboard, make money at it? She goes, yeah! These are opportunities that you're not taking advantage of. We have no idea. Okay? So, I would absolutely put the Little Sweet Pig and the Red Fleet State Park, the boat rentals, the stand-up paddleboarding. And by the way, when you do best ofs, you never promote the facility, you promote the activities. And why we picked that over Steinecker is because you can rent boats, you can stand up paddleboard, you can do those things there. Okay? And by the way, I love these. And I've been to Flaming Gorge from Interstate 80, and these run that whole way, 191, and down all the different highways. They're phenomenal. I think they're great teasers. And I'm so glad that you have them. And then, so we came back. So now we come back, we had to abort both of those. So now we're back in town. We said, let's check out the city of Naples. It's probably just like Italy. I'm just kidding. Now, when we did see this, and we didn't know whether Naples was this way or this way, because there is this sign here, so we went down that way to find Naples. And by the way, we were there at the kiosk, and we did see this, and I'm going, they have a downtown somewhere. Or is Naples hoping to get one developed? Is that what Naples is trying to do? That's the goal. Okay, fantastic. Because we're going to talk about downtowns. And so I thought that was really great. Our general impression of Naples was more industrial because you're kind of on the east side of Vernal, you know, and so I could see the need for a downtown. So I thought that was awesome that you're going to do that. By the way, at this kiosk, there are 12 brochure holders and they're all empty. All of them. And the only thing there was this, and it's faded so you can't even read it. Now, if you're in Vernal and you want people to learn about your community and anything, you gotta do better than that. You have a beautiful spot there, and there's absolutely zero information about Naples, not Vernal, about Naples here. And so there's 12 of them. I mean, number one, I don't think you need 12. You can probably take 8 of them down. But even the back sides, there's just nothing. Sure, first impression is, well, I don't know, Naples doesn't really seem to care. And I know it's not true, but that's the impression you would get. Okay? So that's how we were introduced to the city. And then, by the way, that's where we would start. If we're in Naples, I mean, that seems to be kind of the main intersection. We did decide to check out the airport. Now, does Dynaland Aviation, do they still do charter instruction aircraft car rentals, that kind of stuff? Does anybody know? You don't know? Because we thought that should be promoted. I mean, you know what? I'm going to go back to Heber Valley for one reason. You could go fly World War II aircraft. That's pretty cool. So here, these are the experiences where people spend money. I have no clue whether it's available to us. See what I mean? Tourism is about getting people to spend money. And by the way, the curb appeal, there's no brochure holder out there. Just kind of, we're not going to bother going in. So we didn't. Just not good curb appeal. The airport it's terrific. You rent cars. I mean, it's not very often you find airports of this size that have 2 car rental agencies. And by the way, there's massive construction going on out there. There's not one single sign or anything that says coming soon, here's what it's going to look like, here's what we're doing, opening in 2018, nothing that invites us back. And as a county, you do the worst job I've ever seen inviting people to come back. So what is going on out there? Are they building new runways? Okay, are they going to build a new terminal? Eventually. Okay, and they're doing new taxiways, and what all are they doing out there? What I would do is just, one of those 4x8 sheets of plywood with that on it. It would make a big difference. So we did see that, and I think that's pretty cool that you're doing that. And then we did go to the golf course, and the golf course looks terrific, by the way. Great viewing area, picnic shelters, where you keep all your scores, the tournaments and everything. And this is a stunning golf course. Beautiful. I'll bet most of your visitors never see it either. See what I mean? They have no clue. There's one little sign, we drove by it like 3 times before you ever saw it, golf course. And by the way, it was just incredible. We just thought, this is so beautiful, that I kept taking more and more and more photos of this place. And then we see there's the clubhouse. It looks great. But here's my question. If you go back, there's the clubhouse. It looks great. Here's my question. Is it 9 or 18 holes? 18. Is there public play? Yes. Okay. Is there a restaurant? Yes. Okay. Is there a clubhouse in there, like gear? Can you buy gear? Okay. Is there club and cart rentals? Nothing anywhere that says any of that. I go, okay. All you need is one sign that says, yes, we're open for public play. Check with us for reservations, tee times. Cart rentals, a pro shop, a restaurant. I had no idea. Even if I go back to this photo, there's no tables or chairs out here on this deck. I don't know where the restaurant is. I mean, it's like, I don't know how you could miss this. But is it as good as it looks? It looks fantastic. But once again, how much money are you turning away for what you can fix for $1,000 in a really nice decorative sign? So as we're coming in from Naples in that area, I love this dinosaur. I think he's cool. I would like to see this sign be a little more modernized. It looks like 1956. But other than that, I think it's just, we thought it was awesome. Love the fact, you know, the beautification starts right here. Finally a dinosaur. There's no place to park, unfortunately. But we thought, rats, this would be a great picture where a kid could go up there, you know, put their hand around. I mean, you know what? If you put a picture of a person here, it really adds scale to it. And so we did say, okay, so now we're out of Naples, we're into Vernal. Is that about where the city lines are? Okay. But then, so why isn't we drive down half a mile? And it's another one. Vernal welcomes you. I said, did we miss something? Is there two Vernals? I mean, you already walked in this one. So I thought, you know what you should do? Is put thanks for spending time with us. Not as an exit, just thanks for spending time here. You know, make it useful, because we're like, how many entrances can you have in the same city? Go in the same direction. We did find the sports complex. And we kind of found it by accident. And then we even saw Vernal City Park. Okay, come on, you guys, get creative. Why do you call it Jurassic Park or anything but Vernal City Park? You know, I play with the brand. I mean, I love it. See, if every park was named after a different species of dinosaur, you guys should just live it, embrace it, be fun. And it doesn't mean that you have to have Jurassic dinosaurs there. It's just fun name. So anyway, beautiful, beautiful park. Picnic shelters. I mean, just fantastic. And now we're starting to go, is this really a city of 10,000? What you have here is flat out amazing for a rural area. I mean, even across the, not only the place, even right across the street, there's a guy working on the creek bed. Just stunningly beautiful place. And remember, we're seeing this when it's raining and kind of lousy weather, and we still think it's stunning. And so, for lunch, we did eat at for dinner, we ate at the Corey Steakhouse. And it was fantastic. Really great. Matter of fact, I love the floor in there. That is so cool. I said, where's the restroom? She goes, follow the river. Which I did. And so I just thought it was just really, really well done. Just really, really great. And so, of course, we need to add it to your very best stuff. It's a really great restaurant. That was that day. So we had a couple of misses, saw a couple of cool things. So then the next day, is there anything else to do here? Of course, we have to start off at the local institution, Betty's. And of course, we went in there, it was packed. There were tables full of Germans, you know, and of course, there's one guy waiting on all tables. I said, how are you doing? Usually a waiter does 5 tables, and he was doing the whole restaurant, including busing and everything. He says, well, one of our cooks didn't show up, one of our waiters drank up, and I think he just gets too drunk at night. I'm going, more information than I need to hear. Like, sorry, I said, sorry I asked. You know, I'm going, okay. But, but you know what? Breakfast was really good. You know, and I remember somebody sitting at a table and somebody walked up and said, hey, Mayor. So I don't know if it was a past mayor, current mayor, whatever, but I said, okay, you can see this is a mixed kind of visitors and locals. By the way, visitors like to go where you go as locals. So if you're going at the dinosaur brew pub, or this, you think you're being more in touch with the locals. So, but we didn't have a bad experience there at all. I mean, the guy was amazing and was doing all that. I mean, it's so cool that I think you gotta go there. Not every place has to be so upscale. So then we decided, okay, we're gonna go check out. This just, every time I look at this, I'm just so we're gonna go check this one out.
They're all worried about your experience there.
Okay, so we went down to Oregon. While we were there, we thought, let's go check out the National Wildlife Refuge, right? So we did go down there. I thought this was pretty cool, that there actually is a 5-mile long driving around. I thought that was cool that they did that. It should be promoted more. It'd be nice if there was a map. I don't know if it's a loop that comes out. I don't know if it goes out the other end and puts you back on the highway, or if you go down there 5 miles and then turn around and come back. I don't know. I wish there was just a little more information about this. But I think it's cool that they did that. And so we did see the kiosk there, and it talks about a lot of cool things. There's no brochures in here. There are some brochures over here. You know what? It's just like, yeah, every 6 months we go out there and restock it. You know, so I wish there was just a little more, once a week. I mean, there's like employee housing or something right across the street. And so, but I thought this was really cool. Because in this kiosk, they do a good thing in this interpretive display, I should say. They tell you that there's 150 acres there that is farmed. But the farming creates lots of things for the wildlife refuge, and this farmer does not use pesticides. That way, and by the way, the birds and stuff will eat a lot of the birds and the wildlife there eat a lot of the pesticides a farmer would normally fight. So by doing this, they created this symbiotic relationship. I thought that was really cool, that they explained that in one interpretive panel. And you should be doing that for your oil and gas, because it can coexist with tourism fine. So, thought that was pretty cool that they did that. And on our way, pretty cool stuff. I mean, you see them, yeah, what else? But for everybody else, they think, wow, are we in Africa? People don't, I don't think foreigners, even Americans, don't have any idea about the pronghorns and stuff in this area. But anyway, there was no wayfinding the Fantasy Canyon at all.
Well, you went the wrong way. Just a FYI, that's not how we would all get there.
Well,
If you went the other way, there's lots of signs.
so now, here's what you do. Anytime you have visitors come, you go over to the county and you say, is Lisa here? We need her to go out and be our guide.
Right?
She'd probably love it. But what we did is we did follow directions down. It said you go over the river in your Ouray, and then you turn left. And so we did. The directions actually did get us there.
Okay.
So we turned left. We just did that side trip since we thought, let's go. So we did turn left. We followed it all the way around. And the directions, by the way, were good in this one. We went all the way to the highway. And by the way, for visitors, when things are 5 miles, it feels like 10. Just understand that. By the way, most cars now don't do tenths of miles on their odometers. So when you do 8.1, 8.3, we're going, oh, great. Our Jeep Cherokee that we rented actually did. Our cars at home don't. So you just have to remember that when you're doing those. But we did go, we finally came down here. The roads was getting a little muddy. There were lots of signs telling you how to leave, but no signs telling you how to get there. And so when we see these, we did not see these as a negative. We did read, you know what? This here is, I think, natural gas, right? I know there's oil derricks, but a lot of this is natural gas, right? I think if you did even right there at Fantasy Canyon, if you did a kiosk that says, you need to understand about natural gas. It's clean energy. I mean, they give you, they'll probably pay for the sign. It's clean energy and the things it does for us. I mean, if it wasn't for that industry, would this facility be here today?
No.
Would your rec center?
No.
Would the university, the technical school?
No.
I think you need, and how about for the tribes? I think they're part of this, right? I mean, I saw their Justice Center, I saw their Head Start program, pretty world-class stuff. And I understand, we work in Alberta, so we understand about the ups and downs of oil and gas. That's why you need to pump up your tourism industry to help it, because you're a bit of a one-horse town. So tourism can be one way to help you diversify. Now, so if you just put signs that explain about it. Now, in all the directions, even on TripAdvisor stuff, everybody was going, look out, it's all this heavy traffic. We saw like 2 white pickups. Maybe that's heavy traffic for Fantasy Canyon. So, but I just think if you put up a few interpretive displays, people will understand what this does for the community. And you might even say, and here's how it impacts the environment. By the way, every one of those little stations or whatever, pump stations, whatever they are, were very neatly maintained and stuff. So I thought overall, we didn't see it as a major distraction. I can understand how people would say, you know what this is doing, this is scarring this landscape. I can hear all the negatives because I've seen it before. But if you explain about the economic benefits and that this actually is a clean energy as opposed to open pit copper mining or coal, I mean, I think you need to promote it. So we did go there, pretty cool little place. It's only 10 acres. I thought it was really cool that they have these little deals, these little, I mean, has everybody been out there? Pretty cool. And by the way, I mean, I love it. Can you see the gargoyle? I thought it was just cool that somebody took the time, I don't know if it's BLM, it says screaming man 30 feet away, 9 feet up. I think that's really cool that they did that. And it's a neat little place. You know, can you see the howling dog? See it? I mean, you know, and by the way, that wasn't even on there. I think it'd be so fun to take families out there and see if you can identify something that they didn't put on one of the little circles. But, you know, I just thought, this is so cool. Wouldn't it be cool if people say, go down to Fantasy Canyon and then post what you saw? Social media. So anyway, I think it's good. I hope people stick to the trails. Once we were there, we said, you know, maybe it's best that this isn't signed. Because we also worked in Goblin Valley, which is like no other place on the planet. And last year, some Boy Scouts went on top of one of them and toppled it off. And you probably all heard about it. I'm going, and I talked to State Park Superintendent about that, and he says, yeah, we're probably saying no climbing on them, which that's probably good. This is more fragile than that. And so, by the way, we almost missed the canyon because it's kind of back behind it. So if there was just one more, because there were some trail signs, but because there's so much erosion there, it's soft. One of the trail signs had fallen down, and we almost missed the canyon back here. But this is just really cool. And by the way, when you take pictures for everybody, and even for promoting tourism, always show people. Always show people in the pictures. We relate to people more than places, and it adds scale. So, and by the way, we finally found an arch! It's only about this big around, but heck, it's an arch. So, you know, this might be better as a hidden gem, because I think it's something you don't want to over promote. I mean, somebody, you know what, a couple of people could go in there and destroy that whole thing in like 3 hours. So, you know, I think it's kind of a cool thing. You know, as a matter of fact, I would like to see somebody do this. Here's a private sector one. I forgot to bring you a copy of this. This is a little book. This is Door County, Wisconsin. It's a little book that's about this size. The guy that wrote this, Richard Rusnak, is a contractor. And what he did is 101 things to do. But for you, I'd say the hidden gems of Utah's dinosaur country. Yeah, and that's where you put little places like this that you don't want the public to do. But what's really cool about this one says, our favorite Sunday morning starts with breakfast at the White Gull Inn on Main Street in Fish Creek. Splurge on a slice of the famous Door County berries, sour cream coffee cake, salt. And then take a much-needed stroll down Cottage Row and takes you out to this little viewpoint. Number one, you spend money. It tells you where to go, what to eat, and what to do while you're there. Guess what? This costs him like $4 to print. You could probably get it in full color now for $3 or less. And he sells them for like $7. The state park sells them for 15. Other stores sell them for 15. And so I called him a few years ago and I said, so Richard, how many have they sold? And he says, oh, we're up to 50,000. And he says, you want to hear an interesting fact? At the state park gift shops, as they sold, they said, would you mind if we surveyed you 6 months from now and 1 year? Just ask you a couple questions about this little book. And you know what they found out? 85% of the people that bought this little book for $15 made multiple trips because they only got to do 10 of them. And he makes pretty good money selling these. He makes $5-6 a book times 50,000. What's the math? It's not a ton of money, but pretty good for supplemental income. And it's just full of these little things like that. Just neat little hidden gems. Cool idea for somebody. So, next, we have to go find the 9-foot-tall petroglyph. And so, we decide we're going to go out to McConkey Ranch. For LDS members, is that a relation to Broussard? McConkey? Nobody knows? Okay. No, just curious. While we're driving out there, all of a sudden we find this. Going, oh my gosh, where did this come from? You know how many OMG moments we have? I mean, these are all in town. I'm just going, this is fantastic, the applied technology thing there. And then Utah State, this is just amazing. And I have one question. I looked everywhere for the Aggie Blue Man ice cream. Where is it? Don't make us go to Logan. I think somebody should sell it. I mean, for you that have been to Logan and been on campus, you know what the lines are like going to get Aggie ice cream? They do? Where's the gift shop? Great! See what I mean? We had no clue there was a gift shop. No clue. It's closed.
Ask the college down there. They're the end.
She said they're closed.
That old stuff. Happy Apple used to be available, but had to be kept.
Okay.
And we shut our bookstore there, but we're reopening it. Yeah.
Okay, good. See, everybody go with that? These are things that you need to tell your visitors.
I actually don't like ice cream, so that's why we shut it.
Okay. Do you work for Utah State?
I'm the executive director.
Okay, and they let you work there, huh? No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Only for another week.
But anyway, I was just kidding about that. But you know, I thought it was cool. This whole thing, you know what? Utah State has these little campuses everywhere, down Blanding, everywhere. Nothing like this. What you have here in this town for your population is astounding. I hope you realize that. I mean, it's just astounding. Even that was fantastic. We did see the high school. You have a couple high schools, right? I think we saw one. No, just the one? Okay. We saw the high school, middle school, looked great. I mean, we're just blown away. So then we decided we're going to go out 121. By the way, 121 would be a fantastic little scenic drive all by itself. I mean, that wall of cliffs. The only thing you need to do is start to clean up stuff like that. So, the directions here say to go out, I think it's 500 north, go out to 3,500 west, turn right and go 12.5 miles. That's what it says. And that, by the way, I already told Alicia. So, you know, she was all pumped up about how great this is, and then I'd come and say, well, but that was the only, so, of course, we went to 3,500 west, turned right, just like it said, went 12.4 miles, and this is what happened when we got to 8. We don't know whether we're supposed to go left, right, whether we missed something. We didn't know what to do. And so we turned around. Well, okay, here we go again. We turned around, and then I said, I remember going by a little street sign that said McConkey Road, I think. It doesn't say ranch. It says McConkey Road. I said, maybe it's way back down there. Maybe this is a typo. Maybe there's something wrong here. And so we drove back down, and if you're wondering why, I mean, can you read that sign? I am stopped out of the car looking at it, and I can't read it. Now imagine going 45 miles an hour past it. Now, I understand this is private, so I understand. But I thought maybe, by the way, it's 6.3 miles from where you turn. So half of what the direction said. And so, but maybe this might be a cool Eagle Scout project. Somebody just to go help, McConkey's, do the sign. So we did drive out there. So once we made the turn in the right place, we did go out there, and they talk in the brochure about the historic McConkey house. We're thinking, yeah, not so sure that's that historic. But we go up there, and we do see the little shed there, pretty cool, and we got skeletons of past visitors. No, I'm just kidding. And that's pretty cool. You walk in, they've got all these Post-it notes from everybody everywhere. And it's pretty cool because she got a refrigerator for $1. You can buy a bottle of water, which we did, and we put like $5 in the donation. And they got these little sheets you can actually take with you, I think. But now the challenge is you don't know really what to do. There are signs that go there. Now, this couple right here, they're each a few hundred pounds, a little bit overweight. And they're from Indiana. And they walked to right here. Well, we just came all this way. We can't go up there. It's funny, the lady says, you know, yesterday I could have done this, but today I'm just too old. And I said, we're doing it today because tomorrow we might be too old. And so, but they came all the way from Indiana, was sitting here trying to figure this out, and they started to look up there, and they just went, we can't do it. By the way, when you market things like this, you need to this is Jane, you know, it's kind of grabbing onto rocks as we're scaling the cliff to get up there, and they're walking away. We really felt bad for them. And as we were walking away, here's Jane coming around some boulders. I mean, this is, you know, she's going, I wish I would have worn long pants. I wish I would have worn something other than sandals. I wish, see what I mean? I wish we'd had a little more information to have us prepared. Now, they got in their car and said, oh, there's one that says Kingstar that drove down there. And then once you go like a block, you can't, no entry. There's another house, so you can't go there. So you can see them stop down there trying to figure out what to do. They see this little entry opening and it goes out into a swamp, and then they left. And you just don't want to have people have an experience like that where they're turned away and disappointed. So we, however, being so macho as we are, decided to go for it. And I think it's important to show pictures like this. Now remember, a lot of times in our brochures we show pictures of the petroglyphs. You need to show pictures of the experience so that we know what we're up to in getting around to these and going down here. So we did do this, and we did see, I'm not going to show you everything, we saw lots of petroglyphs and everything. And we did that. We never saw a 9-foot tall one. We kept looking for this. Because, by the way, we've seen petroglyphs all over the state. We've worked in almost all the counties. And so we did that from one end to the other, and we went, well, that was kind of okay, but an awful lot of work for not much. And then the historic house, I'm not really getting it. But then I thought, well, maybe this is the historic home. If that's the case, put an interpretive sign there that says the McConkey family originated here in 1865 or 70, whenever it was. This was the homestead for a number of years, just anything. So we decided to go check out this whole Three Kings Trail. So we drove down here, then we turned around, drove back, stayed in the parking lot, walked down here, and we did go through there. And by the way, you know, you can see some of the signs here. And then this is the fire swamp. How many Princess Bride fans do we have in the audience? Oh, come on, you know the fire swamp. And so we're going, I mean, there's the trail. And so, you know, you are walking along this. And some of these are like this, and it had been raining. And what's really interesting, instead of lightning sand for Princess Bride fans, you have to navigate lots of that. Nice, fresh cow dung. And remember, in Princess Bride, they have the rouses, the rats of unusual size. We're walking along the trail, and this is right there. Is that a rattlesnake? What is it? All I know is it's like 4 feet long and looks really dangerous. Is it poisonous? No? Could I reach down and grab it? Not a good, oh, okay. Oh, I didn't. Instead, Jane's going, what have we gotten ourselves into? We need to be back at the brew house. But we walked all the way down there, and then we started going up, and it's pretty cool. And now we're seeing some really cool petroglyphs. And so, I mean, some of them were pretty good. I mean, Jane's 5'1", so this one's getting there, not 9 feet yet, but, you know, and there we see some other ones. And one of the cool things about this whole site is the geological change. You see there was a major shift at some point in time. And so, and we love the fact that they're saying, this says, okay, tourists, pack your bags and go back home. The suitcase is right there. Or maybe they're saying, you got this far, it's time to stop and have a martini. I don't mean to make light of the petroglyphs, they're really awesome. But what's really cool is as you're walking out there, you have to understand that you are being watched. Every move you do. Doesn't that look like a person? Yeah, totally, we are totally aware of every move you're making. And so we walked all the way down to this fence where it says enter trail, do not enter, and we did what everybody did, we go right through it. And then we cannot find, it says Three Kings panel. I have no idea where the Three Kings panel is. And we're going, is this it? And I looked, really, I could see something up there. Is this, by the way, is that it? That's not it? Where is it? Okay, well, we're going, is that three? I can see something there, some more carvings, I can't quite make it. And are those really 9 feet tall? They look like they're like 3 feet tall, maybe. And then I'm going, well, I can't believe these are the 9 feet tall. And I thought, you need to put a telescope in. You know, one of those you put a quarter in, you know, maybe make some money on it. Or better yet, I said, you know, charge people. I mean, we walked this far and did all of this through the fire swamp and everything. We're willing to pay anything to see this Three Kings panel. I mean, or you could tell people, bring binoculars. I mean, even if you can't walk up those, just bring binoculars. You can see from binoculars. And so I have no idea. However, I took my lens. Luckily, I have a really super high, 25 megapixel camera. Went back to the hotel, and then I think I could see a king there. I could see a king there. I could see a king there. But then there's all these other people also in this picture. But I have no idea whether that's it or not. Some of you are saying no. That was it. The only way I could see that was by taking it in there and going into Photoshop and blowing it up like massive, massive, massive. So, I did this, but you know what our first reaction was? I think Vernal needs to stick to dinosaurs. That was our first reaction. Because this is an awful lot of work. And by the way, he's talking about the greatest concentration of petroglyphs. Well, not so fast. Because this is newspaper rock, which I told them they should change to Facebook rock. Because this is what I told them. This is down in, I think, what's this? San Juan County. I mean, there's newspaper rock. Massive. But you know where there's even a better collection than even McConkey? Is Parowan Gap. I mean, they have the greatest concentration within a small stretch of anywhere in the United States. And by the way, this is all fairly new last year. I mean, you can walk on these trails right there. It's all easy. You can get that close to it. I promise she's not touching them. She's pointing to them. And so this might be better as a hidden gem. Number one, it's private. But I think it's really important, and I wanted to thank the McConkey family for letting us visitors go there. As much as I was giving them a hard time about it, it really is a cool place. But it should be in the marketing that this is a pretty strenuous little hike. And by the way, if you could pick between this one or the Three Kings, I said go do the Three Kings. There's more, it's easier, and the biggest ones are there. Okay? Yes?
Did you go see the petroglyphs at the monument?
What monument?
Like the Dinosaur National Monument.
No, we didn't have time. We wanted to, and if we were to come back, technically we shouldn't even have done that. But we picked a couple of things that we knew might be kind of iffy, just to verify whether it was worth it or not. So we would love to do that. As a matter of fact, we want to come back and do that whole thing. It was just fantastic. So we came back downtown. Okay, so I'm finally getting there. We did go see the Daughters of the Utah Pioneer, and I've done this all over state. Visitors have no idea what a duck museum is. And always trying to say duck museum. And so I did this at St. George. I said, people don't get what a duck museum is. So you need to actually, I know it's long, Daughters of the Utah Pioneers, you need to put it on your signs. It was actually open. They were doing a yard sale or something. We did not go in just because of time, because we spent way too much time out at McConkey Ranch. We did see the temple. Now, I'm assuming this used to be a tabernacle. Okay, it's like the one in Logan and other towns there. Beautiful, of course. And I mean, it's always stunning. It's great. And by the way, I was really shocked when we were in Paiute County. They had a temple, and their whole population is like 3,000. So I was glad to see you out. And then, of course, while we were down here, we saw the Vernal Brewing Company. And so by now it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so we're eating a very late lunch. And it's a beautiful, beautiful building. So this is what we did. We went to the temple, and then we went to the brew house. So what's really cool is they grow their stuff right there. I thought that was so cool. That they actually have their herb gardens and everything right there. And we did eat there, and it was as good as you would find in any metropolitan area anywhere. And the fact that it's related to the other one is really funny. You really get one experience or another. I mean, and it's, quite frankly, it's great that you have that choice. You can do the upscale one. This was much more our style. But, and then we learned that I think this family also has McConkey Ranch. No, what do they have? What was the other?
Moonshine Arch.
Oh, Moonshine Arch, that's right, Moonshine Arch. I mean, you start to learn things. Oh, so this is how this all connects. And so, if we would have known that, we would have vented to them about it. But anyway, the Vernal Brewing Company is fantastic. Really, really good food. And then we saw this, and we're just going, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. I mean, I speak for a living. You see this in areas of 150,000 people or more. This facility. I mean, before it even came, I said, okay, I need HDMI. I'm not VGA. I want HDMI. They go, got it. Walked in here, 10 minutes later, staff got it. And we're going, so world-class facilities in Vernal, Utah. Wow, that's pretty cool. And so we were just amazed. Now, we read that there's some amphitheater somewhere, there's rodeo grounds, there's fairgrounds. We don't know if they're all separate places where they're at. When we were at Vernal Brewing Company, we went back in here and we said, so where is the county fair? She goes, Western Park. Okay, where's the Outlaw Trail Theater? Western Park. Okay, where is the Dinosaur Roundup? Western Park. Well, where's Western Park? There's no signs. And she goes, behind the convention center. And that's how we got it. Now, there is the Buckskin Hills Complex. We never found it. We know part of it's because we ran out of time, but I think it's kind of northeast of town, somewhere out there. It says something about Diamond Mountain Road or something like that. But I looked on a map and it goes like all the way into Colorado, so we weren't sure. So I missed that one, and we just ran out of time. But this was really cool. And so then we came back and found Western Park and your rodeo grounds. I mean, we're just going, these grounds are fantastic. I mean, just all the footing, the track, everything's just super, super well maintained. But nowhere is there any kind of sign anywhere that says anything ever takes place there. No reader board, no brochures, nothing. So we don't know. Our assumption is this is used 3 days a year. I bet I'm wrong, aren't I? No clue. And so, even things like this. Is there a little restaurant or cafe somewhere in here? No? So if you bring your lunch, you can eat here. Okay, maybe during the fair, right? Okay, and because I assume the fair is held here too, right? Okay, no signs, nothing. And so, I mean, we're looking, what is this over here?
4-H.
4-H, okay, 4-H, okay. But there's not even pedestrian wayfinding how to work your way in here. I found this by accident. Cool little theater. But anyway, anything ever happened here? How often? Speak up.
The play is for 2 weeks in the summer.
There's a play 2 weeks in the summer?
They
Is
have
it?
concerts there
They do?
Uh-huh.
When?
in the summer.
Okay. Lisa, that's not very helpful.
In that really good area guide you have, it tells
Yes.
you the play is the last 2 weeks of June.
In here it says it.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And then
Now,
the fair. It comes
this
with
actually,
stuff.
she's right. However, I wanted to see if you guys knew that, and you're all like looking at each other. Okay, so, but another challenge is not everybody has one of these. So what if somebody's coming here for a conference, they don't have one of these? It's her job to make sure they all do, and she really works hard at it. However, if we don't have one of these, would it really be that hard to put a reader board on the corner? Right across the street from here where the sign is. Just put a reader board. 2017 events. You know, and so, and it doesn't, by the way, it doesn't even have to be electronic. Those are expensive. It can just be a reader board where you slide things in. So anyway, I just think you're missing a lot of opportunities. This, we just went, by now we're just going, it's flat out amazing. I mean, this right here is enough to make somebody want to move here. Like I said earlier, Jane said, wow, we should just go buy a membership. I mean, it was just so fantastic. Now, we learned today that this is like 10 years old. Looks like it opened yesterday. Same with this. I mean, this here is a couple years old, right?
Right.
Your facilities are so well maintained. We have been very, very impressed. And that is not lost on us as visitors. That is just absolutely stunningly beautiful. We didn't even have a chance to go inside. We wanted to go inside just to gawk. You know, whoa. And so, our opinion is this. The city has done an amazing job creating an outstanding quality of life for its citizens, but the businesses are not following suit. And I don't know, some of these might be county, so when I say city, I'm talking about the county and the city. I imagine you have probably a pretty strong partnership between the two. Maybe the county's taking the lead. I don't know. But the point is, because I'm sure a lot of the resources are probably coming from county lands that are probably not in the city limits, am I right? But the point is every elected official is elected to improve the quality of life for its citizens. I mean, from the president on down, I don't know how that's working now at the president level, but that's what, at city level, county level, that's their job. And I think they've done an amazing job. The quality of life you have here in a town of 10,000 or in a county of 35,000, whatever it is, far exceeds what you find in 150,000. I don't know if you could find facilities this great in Provo, outside of BYU campus. It's that good. So, downtown. I want to finish talking about downtown. I'd get rid of this. Just take it down. Just top it down. I think you should actually have a city ordinance that says signs that are blown out or are old have to be removed within 90 days, 120 days, or there's fines. Because you have the good and then you have the old. You know what it looks like? It looks like Vernal's rotting from the center out. That's what it looks like. And the city does an amazing job with this. But it's all window dressing. I mean, even this. I thought there's a big, when you get past the Heritage Museum, that's it, into downtown. Because you get this, and the other side is the park. But you kind of think, well, that's it. And I even thought, man, could you go to this owner and just put a temporary cedar fence here and then just lease this for $1 a month or something, let it fall under the city's insurance, and just put car sales there, food trucks there, anything to help screen that. So that it looks like downtown continues. I have no idea how this business will ever make it. Number one, there's zero landscaping, it looks all dead. You've got these, it says they're open, there's no cars parked there. I mean, I just went, would you walk in? And no offense to them, I feel bad for them. And the thing, and we did see, Altitude Cycle. Looks like a great cycle shop. But I haven't seen it open this whole week. I don't know if it is open or if it's just, I don't know, if it was my bike shop, every day I'd put bikes out here. I'd make it obvious you're open. A sign said they're open, but when I walked up, the doors were locked in the middle of the day. So I'm not too sure what the scoop is. Maybe there's a vacation there. But it looks like a great little shop. It just needs to be obvious that you're in business. And so, you know, as a matter of fact, Vernal Brewing Company, we needed to add that. Altitude Cycle looks like a great bike shop. While we're there, we did go to Fulbright Gallery, which is fantastic. But the problem is, it looks pretty drab from here. Just doesn't have any real curb appeal. And what's really interesting, I noticed all the wind chimes, and we went in and talked to them for quite a while, and we finally met one of your more outspoken people. Where's his wife? She is here. There she is. He's awesome, by the way.
I'm not responsible.
Good call.
We went to the Heritage Museum. We never announced who we were. We finally make it over stairs. My wife called and said to expect you. He said, they're probably going to see your shopping. Now, what I would do here is, this is the Worthington Gallery in Springdale. Wind chimes made by the same people. I would take the front of this, I would just get rid of all this pavement right here. Got plenty of parking down here. I would turn this whole thing into a really pretty landscape and then just fill it full of these white wind chimes and everything.
They won't let us have that many.
Who's they?
Lyman Winker, the artist.
Oh, they won't let you have. But even if you just don't even put that many out there, but you just do this kind of things. Just make it so that we go, wow. Because right now what you see is a parking lot full of weeds and there's really no landscaping here. And so what happens is you tend to just look right past it. Particularly if you're going down the highway and what's on the other side of the street just pulls your attention over there. And of course we heard all about when the museum was over there, we did a lot better. Now the museum's down the road. So we got to hear all of that. But you still make it work. And so we thought, you know, if you just did anything like that to pull people up. He does, I mean, his work is fantastic. And I love it. I mean, we're gonna get some of it, and we just don't know what to get. And he said, well, go to the website, he's got everything there, which is awesome. I just think you have a foundation for a really strong arts committee that's really kind of hidden, you know? And so I would absolutely, I had to start a new list, Fulbright Gallery. By the way, if you don't know, he's really, really well known around the country, or even North America, for the jewelry he used to make. So I'd already heard the name. Right next door is a great little trading post. And this little trading post breaks the norm. For normal trading posts are full of cheesy souvenirs. This one here is actually outstanding. You know what? I would take this Indian down off of here. He's too high. You don't really see him. He's overshadowed. I would take him down and I would stand him up right over here. I mean, I would even say, you know what, you got to put him either right here. I would even go over here and say, hey, can we put him in front of your gallery? We'll both benefit. You know, I just put him down because it's a photo op. Whenever there's a photo op, people stop, they get out of the cars. Once people get out of their cars, 4 times you got a chance to get them to spend money. 4 times. Once they stop. So when you create photo ops, it can be great. And by the way, this gallery is awesome. Spent $400 there. And by the way, it's far more than trading posts. Some of the art in there is fantastic. I mean, there's some pieces in there, I just went, wow, this is really well done. And a lot of really authentic, I mean, they had these really cool lamps that I want. I mean, and so I would absolutely can you imagine a brochure with the stuff in there? You're gonna get people to spend money. And so, at the other end of town, we did see the Vernal Sports Center. Here's a big question I have of you. Does anybody here rent Jeeps, ATVs, UTVs, stand-up paddle boards? I mean, outside of the park? You're missing a huge opportunity. We just did Escalante, or some people call it Escaland. I called them the most up-and-coming town in the western United States, population 800. They have incredible yurts being built. They've got ATV dealership where you go and say, want to rent a Jeep? Want to rent an ATV? Want to rent a UTV? You can rent it, take it right from here in the middle of downtown. Or if you like, we can drop it off at the beginning of a trail system and you tell us what time to come pick it up. Or if you'd like to have us come with you, we have lots of guides. You make your own way. And they're booked up. They said, but you need to book it 90 days in advance. That town is hopping. But you're not taking advantage of this stuff you have. And so I think, so you can buy stuff from lawnmowers to UTVs, but can you rate it? We also went to base sports. If I was base sports, I would say we're your provision headquarters. Because, I mean, even the wall of fishing gear rivals anything you'd find in any other place. That place is packed to the gills with stuff. You know, yet on the outside, almost zero curb appeal. It's just plain. There was a gal out there washing off some stand-up paddleboards. Do they rent them? Do they sell them? I didn't even see any in there. But she was washing them off, and I thought, well, I wonder if they rent them. I mean, somebody's using them.
They rent them.
They rent them.
They're blow-up ones, so they're active.
Oh, they are. Okay, I didn't know that. See, but didn't know that. If they put a sign outside that says rental, stand-up paddleboard rentals, I mean, it's a great way to get more money. And so, here's what I tell people all the time. The heart and soul of every community besides its people is its downtown. For you, it's the hole in the middle of the donut. There's a little video we just did. We did this as a webinar last week. We had 700 people from 14 countries tuned in. I want you to watch this video. It's free. I want everybody to watch it. It's 45 minutes long. Downtowns are back and more important than ever before in U.S. history. We're finally back to Petula Clark days. Remember? Downtown? Yet your downtown is not there. And you need to watch this little video. It's free. There's no charge or anything. I don't know, who did all of these pictures? Did the city do that, or?
The chamber.
The chamber? Fantastic. It's a great way to help turn lemons into lemonade. Who did these little kiosks? They're fantastic. I think they're well-crafted, well-written stories. They got great little headlines, like if you were an outlaw, would you shop here? See what I mean? And just pulls you in. I think they're really great. I think that the city and I guess the chamber has done an outstanding job putting window dressing on basically a dead downtown, basically, not totally. Here's the deal. We've been to cities everywhere where they spend millions of dollars making their downtown look great and they're still dead as a doornail. You got one. How many of you would go to Carnegie Hall? Beautiful fresco chandeliers, the moldings, the draperies, the velvet-covered chairs. I mean, this is absolutely stunning. But here's my question. No matter how beautiful it is, would you go there if there's nothing happening on the stage? That's exactly what you've done with your downtown. So, I want to spend a little bit of time on this. Number one, can you tell me what's in any of those shops? Where are the blade signs? Blade signs are perpendicular to pedestrians and vehicles. We have no clue. Can you tell me what's in any of these shops? Give me one reason why I should walk 1 minute down that sidewalk. The flowers. You're right. You're exactly right. And by the way, we saw people, that's exactly why they were walking down there. I mean, this store here, the only way you even see that sign is if you walk out into traffic. Or you're across the street, and even then you can't even see where it says men's. And we got Mr. S, we got men's, we got clothing, we got Roar, we thought, when we first were walking by and saw these signs, we thought maybe it was a head shop or something. You know, we didn't know. You've got to use blade signs. We've seen cities that don't allow them. Well, change the ordinances. These are blade signs. And by the way, it's really obvious. Chocolate, collectibles, trains, restaurant. Blade signs. I mean, they don't have to be, no lower than 7 feet, no higher than 9 feet, no wider than 42 inches, so you have some consistency. I mean, maybe 18 to 24 inches from the facade. This is easy to do. And every great town has them. Springdale, Park City. I mean, this is Nantucket. They don't have to be cookie cutter, but I mean, it works. Blade signs. That's Carmel. The best cities use blade signs. And they can be under awnings. That's Banff in Alberta. This is Valparaiso in Indiana. I mean, I could go to Canmore in Alberta. I mean, look at that. That's really cool. I know what it's about, kitchen boutique. By the way, I've heard people say, well, we can't do it because of wind loads. Or the city owns the sidewalks. If they ever fall, I say, you know what? It falls under their insurance. And so this is Lethbridge, Alberta. All these, they were just putting these in there. All these signs are built to 100-mile-an-hour wind loads. So when you see signs like this, it looks like a leftover from 1950. The days of backlit signs ended in the 70s. It just looks so dated that doesn't pull you in. Yet I think this is their display window, isn't it? It's fantastic. But there's nothing to pull people. You only see that if you happen to be walking by and there's no incentive for somebody to park and walk by. This here, we stood right here. I said, Jane, my wife, I said, Jane, tell me what the store is. She could not figure out what the store was. We're standing right smack in front of it. I mean, even if you look in the windows, you can kind of see. And she said, well, I think it's clothing. And I said, well, actually, it's men's clothing. The only way you know that is if you're across the street. Have you ever tried to cross the street downtown? Woo! That takes your life in your hands. Okay, so once again, motorcyclist goes, what the heck is he taking a picture of? This one here, I have no clue what they saw. None as you're driving by. I think this is home accents. But I don't know if it's used home accents because I think there's the word vintage somewhere. But the problem is for your merchants, always sell what it is you're selling. The thing that's supposed to be before the name of the store. It's a great sign. Number one, it's not perpendicular, so that's a challenge. You'll only see it when you're out in the, by the way, after 6, you can stand out here in the middle of the street, no problem. That actually is a problem. But there's so much text here, I have no clue what the store sells. And so for them, I would narrow it says vintage decor, furniture, gifts, much more. I would put that up on the sign, I'd make it perpendicular, and I'd make that about this big, and then put your hours. And by the way, a lot of your stores are open like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. If your downtown is full of hobby businesses, your downtown's going to die. And so these, you only know what's in them when you're across the street. I have no idea what the chalet is. There's a little Hallmark card there side, but you only see that if you stop, get out of your car and look. And so these are the challenges that you have. And so, I mean, nice little displays. And by the way, not sure what this is. We see 19 and older only. I think it's a vape shop or something. But you know what? Even if you go out here and look at the sign, you still can't read it. So your downtown has a lot of challenges. And I mean, even right here, remodeled, that's the hotel. But here, I think we have the Mexican, La Cabana. We didn't eat here because number one, there's weeds. I mean, remember I said, whether it looks like a nice place to eat, I'm going to show you another picture of it. But even here, where's the sidewalk cafe dining? So, this should be allowed in your downtown. And by the way, if we go to that little town of Canmore, like that, sometimes it's just like this, one little narrow row. I understand about ADA access and can we get wheelchairs and strollers past them. But you have enough, look at this little ice cream shop. They put out 2 tables and chairs. She said, yeah, if I give somebody the ice cream cones, they go out and sit out there, all of a sudden I have a line out my door. All she needed was 2 tables and 2 little chairs, taking up about 2.5 feet. I mean, this is what you should do. And you should do it on the highway. And I think I could help you convince UDOT to allow it. This is in Barrie, Ontario. They had all these restaurants, and by the way, the pedestrians walk around here so you can fill the whole sidewalk full of tables and chairs. You don't want tables and chairs out there anyway because of all the noise of the traffic. But they did this. It's got reflectors there. It's got ADA access. There it is from the inside. I took this early in the morning, so they weren't open yet. But wouldn't it be cool? I mean, I thought if you had 10 restaurants downtown that did that, your downtown would be a showstopper. And so they did a great job with that. Wolfville, Nova Scotia. By the way, these are only up from like April in Nova Scotia. These in Barrie, Ontario, which is north of Toronto. They're open from like mid-April through October. So during the winter, they put them in storage. So for snow removal and all that. But this is Wolfville, Nova Scotia. I mean, isn't that cool? Storm drainage goes right under there. This is a non-slip surface. You should do it. I mean, this is the future. You know, we're moving to the European standard. We want out of our cars, we want a pedestrian experience, and we want life. We want sidewalk cafes, we want street musicians, we want all of those kinds of things. And you can do this. I mean, your best places are like that. That's a great little place, it's cool. Your best places are like that. They're not in the heart of it. Is that yours? Yes! It's great. It's fantastic what you've done. I mean, the flowers, by giving this bear here, the tables, it's great. You see us taking pictures. Were you there yesterday? Okay, whoever was working yesterday, she opened the door and I'm taking pictures. She goes, it closes the door. Like, am I going to get busted or something? You know, and it's really sweet. But it's just great. These are your best places. They're not downtown. I'll tell you a fun experience. This happened Wednesday night. This is great too. Is this. It says it's open, but you can barely see those. All the windows are closed. I thought it was closed. But we stopped. I walked up. And as soon as I walked up, the girls inside opened the window. Because you can see through it from the inside. So I ordered a, not a slushy, what's the other thing?
Smoothies.
No, not shaved ice. What's the one that's supposed to be healthy for you? Smoothie! There you go, thank you. So I ordered a smoothie, and interesting happened. I stood there, the window's open, I ordered a smoothie, I'm standing there. Within 3 minutes, another family showed up. Within another 3 minutes, there were 15 people in line and people parking all around next to them. It has to be obvious you're open. And so I would say, you need to keep that window open. I'm sorry, it was only like 70 degrees Wednesday night. It wasn't that hot. And so, but anyway, it just goes to show that if you have it, they're going to come. I'm within minutes. I was parked in the, I don't know what it is, right next door, kind of a gas station or whatever. That whole place was full of cars within like 15 minutes. This here, I thought, are we in Las Vegas? It's just too much. I mean, we got like gambling, a restaurant, a gift shop, a big TV is just blasting at you. But one of the challenges with this place is if it had cafe dining out there, all of a sudden you go, wow, there's another restaurant. But here's the deal, you walk up, does this make you want to walk in? Yikes. I think your businesses are their worst own enemies. Put some window displays here, something, because inside it's really a great little shop. Nobody knows. I mean, the restaurant's got incredible art and stuff in it. It looks like it's great. From the outside, you go, no way. So, I mean, look at this great shop. It's fantastic. How would you ever know it's there? By the way, I don't even know what it is or what the name of it is. There's no signs. So, here's what you need to know. 787 rule. Do this pretty quick. 70% of first-time sales at those places come from curb appeal. 70%. We've all said it. Ooh, that looks like a nice place to eat. Yet very few of your places have it. Vernal Brewing Company looks like a great place to eat. By the way, we believe cities should do the curbside, which they do. We believe merchants and property owners should always do the facade side, and they're not. This is before, Neenah, Wisconsin. Before, after. Retail sales went up 35%. I mean, does it make you want to go in? Light sign, beautification. And merchants aren't doing that. If I go back to that Mexican restaurant, does that make you want to go in? Weeds. I mean, we got Christmas lights. I mean, it just, no curb appeal. Plastic banners that should have been gone years ago. So, It's just, we got their flag laying down here on the sidewalk. I just don't know what else to tell you. Crafty Stash, I'm not too sure what they sell. Obviously used to be an espresso shop or something, but the signs drooped over. I'm not even sure what they are. And that is a major issue. She's here. Where's our fantasy brow? There she is. By the way, she says, I can't remember where she's always fighting this sign. She's trying to get her owner to do an awning, right? We talked for a few minutes, and it's like, I told Jane, I wish I could come here for like 3 days and just help her with downtown. Just these couple of blocks. She's trying to do the right thing there.
Well, my husband's too short to fix the sign, so we have to find somebody taller.
On her way out, I'm a little bit tall. That's pretty high up there. But she's also trying to get awning done, and it's really a struggle, right, to get stuff done. And so, it's just, are you pulling people in? And they're not. And so, if you want to go somewhere, and this shop back here, it's open like Thursday through Saturday, 11 to 5. 70% of consumer spending happens after 6. And so, here's the second one of those. First one was curb appeal. Women account for 80% of all consumer spending. I'm waiting. Go on, guys. True. Usually somebody says, that's all. It is absolutely true. Women will account for 80% of all consumer spending. They want to go to places that feel safe, are welcome, and look good. Us guys will take a chance. Like going to the Dinosaur Brew House. Did I get that right? I was like, yeah, it looks like a guy plays sports bar, My wife is like, well, okay. See what I mean? There's just that difference. And so, does that make you want to go in?
Yeah.
This merchant's smart to put a little sign there. It says, your husband called. He said to buy anything you want. But, take a look at this next picture. It was not staged. What do you see? Husband's waiting outside. Guess where the wives are? I have 2 words for you. Think benches. In your downtown, I would have 30 benches, always at the facade facing out with a pot on each side. I'd put 30 benches downtown. And there's Shade being my model, that's in Cedar City. Have you ever wondered why homes will do that? People may never sit in those chairs, but it makes that home feel welcoming. It's the same for retail stores in downtowns. You can go buy a bench, they sell them at Lowe's here, you go buy a bench for $79, put a pot on each side, and your store's going to feel welcoming. Big benches. Here's the third one, and I already told you, but I'm going to keep rubbing it in. You know what? If we're out there going to Fantasy Canyon, going to the quarry, if we're out there hiking your trails, we're out on the lakes, we're out on your reservoirs, we're out doing all that stuff, we're not spending money, we do it during the day, we come back and you're closed. Nobody wants to go to their hotel room after 6 or 7 o'clock after dinner and sit there twiddling their thumbs watching TV because there's nothing going on in Vernal. People, by the way, convention centers, people book conventions not because you have a convention center, but because there's activity after 6. That's why they do them in Las Vegas and Anaheim and Orlando and San Antonio and all those other places. For this to be truly successful, there needs to be activity after 6. So, your property owners, cities can't regulate business hours, but your property owners can. If you sign a lease in a mall, it'll say you will open at 10 o'clock. If you're not open by 10:05, you're fined $1,000 for every 5 minutes you open late. Consistency. You have a couple businesses that we're open until 7. If there was a mall here, well, you have kind of malls. If there was a mall here and only one store in a mall, think City Creek, Gateway Center, somewhere in Salt Lake, doesn't matter. You could take one store open in a mall. Would you go there? You'd wait till they're all open. So a store can't do it by themselves. And by the way, we even tell you how you can do this. We did see this little gallery, awesome. They just opened April 1st. They do a good job with the curb appeal on each side. They've got this out here. They don't have a blade sign, but they have this out here. And they open April 1st. I'm just going, please, please, please help them. They're looking for more artists. I know you've got it here, but they are absolutely a great little gallery. You need these. So then for dinner, we did go eat. We were recommended to go eat at Swain Brothers at Quality Inn. Normally, I would avoid going to any hotel restaurant. I mean, general public does that. Quality Inn, kind of 70s looking and everything. But we decided, well, we're going to go for it. It was a recommendation. So we did go for it, and we did eat in there. And at each table, they give you a little card. If everything's okay, you leave the green. But if you need a refill, you need any service, you have to flip it around and do a red card. I was shocked beyond belief that, excuse me, like you don't have wait staff that checks on you every once in a while? Isn't that why we pay 20% tips? I was just shocked. I travel 250 days a year for 20, 35 years. I've never seen this. Like, okay, it's like soccer, give them a yellow card. I mean, so if you want some service, you have to flip it over to the red card, which I did, but it still took a long time. I was just shocked. That is not hospitality. And no offense, I had never seen that in 35 years of doing this. And I travel around the world. So, here you go. Starting to wrap things up. I have 5 priorities for you. And here you go. Priority number 1, concentrate on downtown revitalization. Even though we came from the travel industry, most of our work is in downtowns, because that's where the spending takes place. And this is a 3-part series of what property owners should be charged with doing, what the city, what its role is, and what merchants should be doing. It's a 3-part series. I would urge to create a downtown association, a Main Street, whatever you can. You need to concentrate on downtown. People want out of their cars and a pedestrian-friendly experience. I would urge you to go to Springdale, go walk that downtown. Heck, you've probably all been to Park City many times. Springdale's better than Park City. But Park City, when they did Sundance this year, I got involved with a big controversy. We want to close down the main street and let it be all pedestrian. The merchants went nuts. How dare you do that? Well, guess what? The parts that they did close down did twice as much business. People want out of their cars in a pedestrian experience. In your downtown, in those 2 to 3 blocks, 10-10-10 rule, 3 lineal blocks, not square blocks, just 3 little blocks. So we did 100 west, 100 east, and maybe half a block. That's 3 blocks. Here's the minimum you need if you want your downtown to be a destination. You need 10 places to sell food. You have about 5. They don't have to be sit-down restaurants. They get, well, maybe you have 4, 3, I don't even know now. Remember, not the whole thing. Okay? 10 places to sell food. You need 10 destination retail shops. So, an auto repair place is not going to cut it. You know, these need to be destinations. It'd be like galleries, it would be like bookstores, it would be outfitters in the downtown are great, bike shopping in downtown is great. You need 10 of those. Ready for the third one? Out of those 20, you need at least 10 that are open after 6. I think you had 3 restaurants or whatever's there. That's what's missing. And consistent hours and days. They should work together. They should be open late into the evening hours. Guess what? We're moving to the European standard. You know, when I grew up, and when a lot of you grew up, when was dinner? 5:30 to 6. Every day. In Europe, you know what it is? 9 to 10. You know what it is in the United States now? 7 to 7:30. I've seen restaurants around here in Utah that close at 7. I mean, in Blanding, when we were down in that area, it was good like finding any food. We had to go to the grocery store. because they close at 7. But like businesses grouped together, that's critical mass. Recruit and promote anchor tenants, you need a central gathering place. Antique malls, they do 10 times the business when they're grouped together. Those are all little competitors in an antique store. And by the way, think about auto malls. Why does Chevy want to be right next to Subaru, Ford, and Toyota? They do 7 times the business when they're grouped together. I mean, think about that. Used to be the days we had fast food in all 4 corners. I mean, right now, you go to the west part of downtown, and you're going to see, let's see, Arby's, McDonald's, Wendy's, Taco Bell. I mean, they're all like there, like within a quarter mile, because they know people will gravitate that area for fast food. I mean, why do you think we have food courts? That's what you need to do in your core downtown couple of blocks. You need to do it with your property owners. You need to orchestrate the business mix. And then, by the way, for crying out loud, why don't you do some crosswalks? And I'll get right on UDOT for this. You got to cross, and they should be the kind that light up when you walk between the two things, and they light up. I mean, the speed limit is what, 35? 30? Good luck finding somebody going under 50. Really? This is Utah, it's been 15. But wait, when we wanted to walk over to that gallery, do we walk down half a mile to a crosswalk and then go in the crosswalk and take our life in our hands? We saw people running across the street. I mean, you know what I would do? Want me to go even further? Sometimes I blame Brigham Young for this. Utah is the widest streets in the United States because in the old days, when the pioneers first came, could a wagon do a U-turn? Why is it that the streets in the middle of your downtown are wider than the highways getting here? Congestion is a downtown's very best friend. Instead, it's a freeway. I would love to see you do that. I'd love to see you put street trees down the median. You still have your left turn lane. You still have your left turn lane. I would love to see you do a decorative crosswalk like that right there at Vernal. And I mean, you know what? And then you know what I would do? I'd be so bold as to maybe even close down a lane and have it one lane through there. Now, I know people are going to say that we got to get that guy out of town. Too bad I told you what kind of car I'm driving. I don't probably have flat tires. But the point is, even if you don't do that, you need to slow people down. Even if you didn't narrow this down to one lane each direction, if you just put street trees down the median, it would slow us down. We call that traffic calming. And by the way, you don't even have parking stalls marked on the street. We don't even know whether we can park here or not. It's shocking. Put parking stalls, just put the lines here. Because even when we're driving around, I said, I wonder if we can park here. There's no parking spaces. Like, just right there. And you may say, well, yeah, but this gives flexibility. You don't have to park within it and all that. And I mean, down the road, if you went and did something like that, you know what I would do? I'd do angle-in parking. Did you know angle-in parking increases sales by 1/3? How many of you like parallel parking? You go, woohoo, parallel parking, yeah! That's why they're making cars that now know how to parallel park themselves. By the way, with angle-in parking, you get 1/3 more spaces. So, this little plaza, love it. However, I want you to redo it. We love plazas. Remember, in Europe, places, towns are built around piazzas. Ask anybody. I mean, you were in Belfast on a mission. I mean, he gets it. When you're there, you see, yeah, this works. So with this, it needs to, here's what comes first in the downtown. What comes first? People there on a consistent basis. Consistent basis is 250 days a year. These are not events, it's activity. If you have 250 days of activity downtown, your merchants, all those vacant places will be full. People first, merchants follow. Way back in the old days, see the movie It's a Wonderful Life? Bailey Building alone built a little thing called Bailey Park, the first time in the United States ever seen a subdivision. We moved out to the suburbs, guess what? Retail went with them. Pennies, Woolworth, they went with them. That's how we got suburban malls. People want downtowns now, particularly the millennial generation. And so when you create this, if we can create activity there 250 days a year, this downtown would be full and it would be a showcase. So, what do? Number one, is I would open up this patio dining so it's part of the plaza, not separate from the plaza. Now, if they serve alcohol, I know you have to have a fence there. Fine. I would probably remove the landscaping from the fence so that someone can eat dinner there and see the activity on the plaza. Be part of it, just like in Europe. They should be part of the plaza, not separated from the plaza. Okay? And so, number 2, I would redevelop those fountains so that they're splash pads, so kids can go get ice cream and go run in them. Kids stood there, you'd be in trouble.
They do, they don't.
They do go in there? That looks like awful high pressure. I don't know how many guys are going through there and go, woo, I can feel like but I think you can do that to where they're, splash pads are really cool for kids. But can you imagine doing that 250 days a year? I mean, or not 250, 120 days a year? Right now it's really pretty, but if they play in there, I'm shocked. And then you know what? This is facing the wrong way. Why would you have your audience looking directly into the sun and at traffic and the back of your performer to the people you want to invite in? It's backwards. If people are driving by, you want them to see the performer and people facing that way, away from the noise. It's backwards. So I would redo it. And I would invite street performers here every day. You got university here. I'm sure you got college students. I invite anybody with a guitar, anybody, go there and play. Just set up shop, get some tips. We've even seen towns where they put aside like a $10,000 budget, and they'll pay them like $30 to be there for 4 hours because right now there's not enough traffic to give them tips, just to get it going. Then I would, all those little street vendors, coffee shops, I would fill this full of those little vendors. But, we need a little coffee shop right here. We need that little ice cream shop right here. Can't fit too many in there, but bring this to life and your downtown will come back. Because right now they're all going to the west side. And your downtown's dying in the middle. I mean, we bought a bag of peaches from this guy. They're really good, by the way. He comes here 3 times a week from Colorado. And by the way, I'd love to see his little kiosk right there in that little plaza. Activate that thing. I mean, put these people down there. This is Fallbrook, California, coming up. 6,000 square feet, about the same size as yours. The city owns it. They lease it to a gal for $1 a month. I said, here's your contract. We want activity there 250 days a year. So she has art markets. She has little farmers markets. Sometimes she has little plant sales. It's got a little fountain in the middle. And by the way, she makes her money off the vendors. But it activates downtown. She has some big tall chess pieces, this tall that she can put out. Matter of fact, want me to keep going? See this right here? I always say turn your parks into plazas. Last night, we had no idea there's a band. Where is that playing? Is it in here or is it, I don't know where it even is. Somewhere right in there. How would anybody even know what's going on at this park? I would love to see you do a program plaza. This is a plaza. Open from 11 to 9, peak hours 4 to 9. I'll give you one example. And I'm starting to wrap up. I know I'm kind of over my time. But Main Street Square in Rapid City, South Dakota. Love this. We went there, we said, we want to turn the 65 space parking lot into a plaza. We don't even care if you make up the parking. Of course, the merchant said, oh, you take, by the way, if any merchant comes up to you, you say, we want to do sidewalk cafes and we're going to use a couple parking spaces for it. And they say, you take away the parking and kill my business. Here's your response. Are you telling me your business isn't worth walking a block for? Shuts them up just like that. So we told them, turn that into a plaza. That's before, that's after. Changed everything. Everything. This is it in the summer. Splash pad is about 1,500 square feet. It lights up at night. They've got a little water there. They've got a stage right there. 300 days worth of activity. The splash pad runs 120 days a year. That's activity. 120 days. They can fence parts of it off. They can do beer gardens. They can do all kinds of things. And then in the winter, 120 days. 240 days a year. They make $130,000 a year renting ice skates and they have to dole them out because it gets too packed. It's bigger than Rockefeller Center's ice rink. Within 3 years, the average age of a person buying a home in Rapid City, South Dakota dropped 12 years. The youth were coming back. When we walked into that little trading post, and I said, talked to the 16-year-old girl and said, so when you graduate from high school, are you going to be like other kids? She goes, yeah, we're going to blow this town. She goes, I don't want to. I mean, is that fantastic or what? That goes every night. There's music going. Look what somebody wrote. By the way, they do movies on the square every Monday night. Average attendance, 3,500. I grew up in Rapid City. It was never as cool as it is now. When you turn your, I looked at that park and I said, this should be an incredible amphitheater. You'd get people coming down here. You'd have people coming from Beaver City here. You would. They'd be coming up here and say, we got to go up there. Wouldn't that be cool? Rather than you going there, they would come here. So, then activate little places like that. And then, you know, this here. I know that you're doing Music Man auditions. Is anything, besides whenever Music Man's going to be, does anything take place here?
They're back
We have
there.
concerts once a month.
You have, what's that?
Concerts once a month, they get promoted on the sign as they rotate it through.
So, how come you don't put that up there?
It will be up there tomorrow.
Yes! I wish I was up there earlier. Okay, then I would work on painting this sign. I mean, these are things you already know, and I know it's money and everything. It's a cool thing to have in your downtown. By the way, everything you do there is in the evening hours, right? See? Perfect. So they are really critical of this. They are worth spending the money on. Is getting the money the biggest, toughest thing you ever do?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But these are back. Performing arts gives you cultural depth. And so this is worth investing in. But I just wish there would have been more substances coming to it. Even if it's not on the reader board, it's just right here. You just say, here's our schedule events. Invite us back. And then, you know, it's so beautiful, yet it's not working. So number 2, create the very best of Dinosaur Country brochure. We already talked about that, so I'm not going to go over it. And there's your list. Now, there may be 1 or 2, we didn't need it every place. There may be 1 or 2 you need to add to this. And if you need help, Lucy, you just let me know. We'll get past the politics. By the way, a Chamber of Commerce can't do this. Because Chambers of Commerce are charged to promote their members. You may have some anchor tenants that are not members, but they need to be promoted. So it's very tough for a chamber to do. So we've seen some do it, but it's tough. Number 3, add a couple more day trip itineraries. I would love to see you doing a shopping and dining guide. Just as while you're here. We've got this. Like, you know, might have like 6 places. You know, and it might be just an hour. You know, Infernal, here's the top 3 places. And it's not your best of guys. Just say, if you like shopping and dining, here's some galleries, here's some petroglyphs. I mean, even the gift shop out at the quarry or the visitor center, all of those things could be included in there. And then I'd love to see you do one that's more just dinosaurs. That includes everything that's dinosaurs. You know, kind of a dinosaur trail of different things. Cool. You know what I'd love to see you do? I would love to see that little dinosaur. And by the way, if you ever get a chance, go see the Dinosaur Museum in Blanding. It's got the old cool movie posters. It's not real dinosaurs, but they've got, and it's really cool little museum. But I would love to see you cross-sell to that. And there's the one in Price. It's a really good museum. I would love to see them cross-selling you and you cross them. If you want to see more design, and I don't know what's over in the Salt Lake Valley area for dinosaurs, but I'd like to see you be the mothership. That this is it. This is Grand Central for the entire North America. And by the way, if you want some other dinosaur experience, here's where you'll find them around the country. You can even do a map, but all the ribbons emanate from here. Wouldn't that be cool? Because you got it. And so that would be really cool. And then we'd love to see you pick, what are the top 3 hikes? What are the top 3 scenic vistas? You got so many. Help us pick the ones. Would be really great. And by the way, Alicia's done a lot of those. A lot of those in here. We like to even say there's like 10 of them or so. We like to say, well, these are our top 3 and here's 7 others. Would be really cool. Okay? And then, scenic drives, fishing spots. You have so many places for fishing. They're all great. By the way, when it comes to branding, Flaming Gorge, we branded them as America's most scenic trophy trout destination, and it's working. And so you being dinosaur country, I think is right on. You just need to reinforce it and just don't lose sight of it. And priority number 5 is develop that wayfinding system. And number 6, make a list of these suggestions and turn them into action items. So we'd like to see you create a vernal extreme team, whatever you want to call it. It could be made up of chamber, county, city. I'd like to see you create a team of like 10 or 13 people. Take these, say, okay, which ones can we go work for the merchants? You know what? Other than wayfinding in here, you could probably implement every single thing in here besides the plaza and wayfinding. $10,000. It's all just low-hanging fruit. So, love to see you do that. By the way, that is the best ever billboard. Best ever. That is so cool. Usually you see, oh, thanks for visiting nearly. But when you see kids waving at you as you're leaving town, I thought that was awesome. Who did that? City, awesome job, City. I thought that was just fantastic. That was a welcome. That was a, and I love the fact that it says, see you again soon. It's an invitation to come back. If only your businesses could learn from the city. Why is the city taking the lead when businesses should be at the table and doing what they can? And so, what you got here, I got to tell you, is unbelievable. I mean, it is just so incredible. We were just blown away. We figured we'd be here one day and going, now what are we going to do? Instead, we needed another week. And what you got is fantastic. And I hope you will make something happen. And you know what? Here's to the very best dinosaur destination in North America, hands down. Thank you so much for spending the morning here. Thank you very, very much. I kind of went over time. I don't know if people had a couple of questions. If not, we could, if you had a couple of quick questions, we could do that.
Okay, does anybody have any quick questions that they're just dying to ask? for the
If not,
presentation?
we'll hang around for a little bit. You got one? Yes. And I'll repeat it.
Sorry, it's not really a question.
Okay?
We applied for a grant for wayfinding signs.
Yes.
We're in that process, trying to get those.
Thank you very much. By the way, there may be, I'm glad you brought that up. There may be many things you say, but we're already working on that. You've just been validated. Just been validated. And we've got contacts at UDOT if you need to know who to talk to there. Wayfinding should be, and by the way, you need pedestrian wayfinding when we get to like Western Park, you need wayfinding there. So there are some other things. So don't just think about signage on 40. Because right now, temporarily, you could just use your pole banners to at least, and then once we're on the surface streets, the city owns them and controls them. And by the way, there probably needs to be wayfinding clear down at Fort Duchesne. And see, I got it. And so there's probably, they probably need some down there. So it could be countywide. I would absolutely start with Vernal. Because I think if people knew you had a convention center, that you had Western Park, that you had these theaters, that you had the library, if people saw that, you'd have a lot of people saying, oh my gosh, we should be here. Because right now they see you on 40, and it's not a showcase, for the most part. It's stunningly beautiful, but it's only skin deep. And that's something you gotta change. Great, thank you for mentioning
David?
that.
Yes, is there anything, as I've seen a couple of the other hotel managers and maybe some others in here, hotels being the first place that the guest stops, is there anything that we can do more to promote to the downtown, to get them down?
Well, right now, why would you send a guest downtown?
So they can go, right now, there's no reason.
But here's what I know. Well, what you do is say, You know what, if you go to the Heritage Museum, it's really great. It's got art history here, talks about the pioneer heritage, it's got veterans, flags, and, it's like, but you should go across the street. I know it's a little tough to get across the street, but go across the street. There's a really great trading post. You gotta go to the Fulbright Gallery, and in the middle of downtown is the little gallery there. It's got some great artisans in there. And by the way, on the weekends, there's some home accents. You really should walk it. I know it doesn't look that great past there, but if you just walk those few blocks, I think you'll find some really cool stuff. That's how you have to kind of sell it right now. Because right now, but sometimes every downtown needs an anchor tenant. Right now in the downtown, the field house is not in downtown anymore. The Heritage Museum is. But then I wish you had a couple. Your best restaurants aren't right downtown, I don't think. At least that we experience. I mean, by the way, we wanted so bad to eat at what's the Italian one? Antica Forma. Even yesterday, Alicia called me and said, "Okay, Roger, can you get there?" We were working on this till like 10:30 last night, so we missed it. But that would be another one. Well, once again, these are kind of booking locations. They're not right in the heart of the downtown. So that's, I think, how you do that. Say, you know what, downtown, part of the problem is you have big, auto shops, and it's kind of an odd mix down there. But I think that's how you do it. But mention 2 or 3 shops that they'll go out of the way. People want specifics. Yeah, more than go explore downtown, they're going to go, why? But little things, if you go across from the Ledgestone and down the block, there's the little sweet pea. Fantastic little place. We would never known about it. If we would have known about that, we would have gone there. Just didn't know. Yeah, good question. Any others? All right, go do it. This is so great what you have here. So thank you so much once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for coming. Roger will stick around for a few minutes if anybody wants to talk to him personally. But thank you again for coming.